All right, so for those of you who know me or don't know me, I'm Will Zielinski. I'm the acting superintendent of schools here for the Lacey Township School District. We're going to go over a couple of rules of the road because this is not your average board meeting. Okay, this is a workshop session of the board. Okay, if you are in this room, and I know that we have some overflow going on in the auditorium, if you're in this room while they're having discussions at the first part of this, there is no talking. Am I clear on that? Okay, you are here to listen. You can take notes. Okay, if you have to go use the bathroom, go out the back. Okay, all right, this is a workshop session of the board. The board is here as a group. They're going to work on things. As I always do, we will do a short presentation. And then they have their discussions. They might ask me questions. I may ask them questions. They may ask each other questions. There may be a lot of things discussed up front here, but there is no talking in this room, yes? Okay. Now, it is a little bit like a regular board meeting, and that after Ms. Claus, President Claus, opens the meeting, okay, and we do what we have to do, we will say the pledge, which you can all do. You can talk for that one, obviously. All right, but at the end of the meeting, they're going to probably rotate back to their seats that they normally sit at, and then there is public comment. Okay, it's not question and answer, it's public comment. Okay, and anybody can come up and make that public comment. If you're in the auditorium, and when we get to the public comment section, you can make your way down to the lecture hall, line up in the hallway, and then after this room is done, we'll take people in the hallway. Although, and this has happened before, I don't want anyone to be shocked by this, if we get really deep into the comments, many hours or an hour plus, there may be a moment in time when the comments are a bit the same. Ms. Claus may say, we hear you loud and clear, we do have a board meeting tomorrow night, okay, you can come at that moment and make extra public comment. We might not be able to hear everybody tonight. Good? I can answer a question right now. Any rules of the road questions? Okay, I'm going to turn this over to President Claus, and she's going to open the meeting.
All right, please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Adequate notice of this meeting was advertised in the Asbury Park Press and on the Beacon on Thursday, April 10th, 2025, and by posting the notice of the Forked River Post Office and by the Lenoka Harbor Post Office, and by filing a copy of the notice with the Lacey Township Clerk as required by the Open Public Meeting Act. Roll call, please.
Mr. Armato?
Here.
Mr. Peters is absent. Mr. Bell?
Here.
Mrs. Armato?
Here.
Mrs. Walker is absent. Mr. Conity?
Here.
Mrs. Claus?
Here. I'd just like to just kind of repeat what Mr. Zielinski said. This is a meeting that we have to have open to the public. So if there's more than 3 of us meeting, we have to open it up to the public. So the purpose of tonight is just so the board all gets the same information together, and we can ask questions to each other. Hopefully have some good discussions. It might be 5 minutes, it might be 45 minutes. So this is why we're here tonight. Okay, we're just going to get started with your report.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, and again, I apologize. I'll be addressing the board tonight because it's their workshop. My back may be to you. I'm sorry for that. All right. So I was asked, so the first thing that we always want to discuss and we've always talked about here is that we're all in a really tough spot right now in Lacey Township. Those of us who attend our board meetings, we know that there's a lot going on. There are many, 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 many sides to this issue. And Ms. Claus has asked me to put together a little bit of a slideshow. This is a very brief one, and it's, as I always do, it's here to spur discussion. We do this at our other workshops. We've done it usually in the media center. Today we just happen to be in the lecture hall, and we have a little bit of an overflow crowd, probably in the auditorium as well. So this is a budget workshop. There's no action we'll be taking tonight, so it's here for discussion and discussion alone. Okay, and of course, we already talked about there will be public comment afterwards. Okay, so budget workshop. What I did in formulating what to spur the discussion on for the board is to put this timeline together of what's been going on. Okay, March 18th, we met as a full board to adopt our original tentative budget, which is required. We attempted to do so at a time when the state continued to not give us the state aid that we really believed that we needed. So it was a very difficult tentative budget to put together. As you guys know, we also have people that we answer to in the county office. We have a county superintendent, we have a county business administrator. So I'll refer to them a couple of times as well. On March 21st, the county office rejected our tentative budget because in that tentative budget, we included a $6.2 million land sale. Okay, we did not have an appraisal. We continue not to have an appraisal for that amount. So they rejected our tentative budget. At the same time, as all the board members know, the state of New Jersey decided that they were going to open up a special application that was going to allow districts to raise property taxes past the statutory limits, okay, which are 2%, but there's also some waivers. Okay, our original tentative budget put that number at 3.15. I'm looking at Ms. Ormsby to make sure I'm right, as always. Okay, at 3.15. That was our original tentative budget with the $6.2 million land sale to plug that hole, which is the reference that we always talked about. On April 9th, we attempted at a special board meeting. We had to schedule that because there was a time frame involved to pass a revised tentative budget to include a tax incentive application for a balanced tentative budget. That tentative budget would have raised Lacey taxes 14.24%. Okay, it was voted down by the board, okay, but unfortunately, the deadline to apply for that special incentive was April 14th. That has come and gone. Okay, so our application didn't go in because of the vote on April 9th. On April 14th, that decision, that came and went. Okay, there's two other deadlines in there that we've always talked about. The May 7th deadline, which is our meeting, because we have to post the final budget, is May 7th. And then there's a deadline to notify the town for whatever our tax levy will be. And you guys know this very well. We don't collect the taxes. The town does it for us. Okay, we don't have the mechanism to do so. So we have to tell the town, what will the tax levy be? Okay, May 7th. So here's a couple things. So we have given our budget to the county office, as you guys know. The county does believe that, well, I'll get into it in a minute. Okay, so those are the deadlines in there and what's going on. But we can't move to May 7th, as you guys know. We can't move to the May 7th meeting because we don't have a tentative budget. We have nothing to move into a final budget adoption at this stage of the game. So we are in a little bit of a limbo. Okay, we've missed, as a board and as myself with them, because I'm part of the board, okay, we've missed the statutory deadlines to pass a tentative budget, and we will not be able to move on a final budget because we do not have an approved tentative budget. I'm saying this all right, Ms. Ormsby. I know I've said it a couple of times. So what have we done? All right, we have submitted what I always believe, and I'll get into it a little bit, and what Ms. Ormsby believes, we've submitted what's called a thorough and efficient budget to the state. We've given it to them. Okay, they verbally agree with us. Our county business administrator has said, you have submitted a proper budget to me. Okay, however, it doesn't include a tax increase. Okay, that's her statement.
At
Okay.
all?
Huh?
Not the 2% or the...
No, it includes the original 3.15 is the budget that the state has in their hands right now. Okay, so they have our tentative, okay, is in their hands. Excuse me, what they have in their hands is the one with the 14.24.
When did we get that?
No, the other one. They only have the tentative. Thank you. Right.
Original
So they only have the tentative with the $6 million hole
Land sale.
in it, which she says is invalid.
The one that we approved in March.
Correct.
When
But
did they
if-
get this thorough and efficient budget?
They
When
got
did
it
you
right
submit
after
it?
March 18th. That's when she rejected it. She got it on the 21st,
No,
and she
but
said
you just
no.
said, you just submitted, because we didn't have a tentative budget, you submitted what you feel to believe a thorough and efficient budget to the state.
That's the
Correct.
March 18th. budget.
March 18th.
Oh, that was March 18th.
And that was denied.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But-
Well, the money is the same. That's the T&E. So the money is the same amount.
Right.
Okay, that's the T&E part of it. We just weren't able to fund that T&E part of it. Am I saying that right? Because we don't have a land sale.
Yeah, but
Right.
since it was denied, the 3.15 didn't go through
Just
either.
like
which-
Yeah, nothing's gone through,
Yeah, so
correct?
it'll be the 2% that we're gonna have to submit.
No, it's nothing
No,
right
it's
now.
nothing.
It's
No,
nothing
no,
right
but
now.
2% is just the basic standard anyway, though.
No, it has to go to the county.
No, I
Oh,
understand
it's
that,
up to
but.
2%,
It's
doesn't
up
matter.
to, but we normally take 2%, so
So-
2% we can submit to the
So
county.
right now, do we have anything that we can send to our township committee, or wherever, our township, to say that we are gonna raise taxes the 2% and that?
No,
So zero?
no, well, we will communicate with them, but at this stage of the game, we can't tell the town anything. That is correct.
So we
Because they
don't
didn't
care.
accept a tentative.
Because the county office hasn't accepted the 10, not coming through, they're complaining. The other one too, Tom?
Yeah, anytime anyone on the table wants to talk, maybe try and
Okay.
All right, so right, as of now, we have a zero increase, is a zero.
No,
No,
it's
it's
not
nothing.
zero, don't call it a zero.
What is
Right
it?
now, you have nothing. Right now, according to the county office,
Mm-hmm.
we have nothing approved, nothing to move forward with because we missed the deadlines.
And we don't have a balanced budget to submit anyway.
Correct.
So that's
Correct.
why we've
Our,
submitted nothing.
the balancing of it would require 14.24 increase in taxes. That's correct.
Just to be clear, what we approved in March was with the proposed land sale of the 6.2 or
Yep,
was at the
6.2
time,
million.
that she told us, you
To
guys
put in, yeah.
put in there.
Correct.
Okay.
But keep in mind, as I've said before, that was prior to the state opening this additional
Right.
application.
But
Right.
And
And
the
she might have
appraisals.
thought, and I'm not gonna put words in her mouth,
But we didn't
that
have
we
the
had
appraisals when she
6.2
turned
million
it
to sell,
down.
we just don't.
But we didn't know that, she didn't know that, and she denied it.
Because
Right.
remember, we did get an appraisal later on,
In
that's
between.
much less.
One of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, much less.
What did it appraise for?
The Lenoke Harbor property appraised for 2.1 million, if you find a buyer, which we don't have.
So it's contingent on a buyer when you enter it into a budget, or can it be put onto a budget like when you buy a house and it's contingent on me selling my other house?
So that's a good question. We've asked our county business administrator, her name is Cindy, we've asked her that question. She said, we cannot put it in any budget right now until you've got a contract for sale. She says, you can't even use that appraisal right now.
So she
to plug all
backtracked that of what she guided
She did.
you
Tom
to
River
do.
didn't
She
have
did.
a contract.
Really,
No,
so
but
she did.
apparently
She did.
it changed.
We're still short that money. Yeah.
So should we let the public know that right now, that,
We just did.
How you just
Well,
did.
I
But
mean-
Tom's River didn't have a contract on Hooper Ave when they put it in theirs.
I don't know what Tom's River had. Ultimately, Tom's River did end up selling that property for, I think, like $16 million, and they needed $14 million for this year. So they did ultimately get that done. Could we ultimately get that done over time? Yes. But again, 6.2 versus 2.1, we still have a gap.
Still have a gap.
Still have a gap.
I have a question.
If we sell it for 2.1, and we have, I mean, we're getting a survey now. We don't know what the survey looks like, we don't know what the deeds look like. We still don't have all the answers to any of our properties right now that we may or may not use in the future.
Did they have it for, literally for sale? 'Cause we don't have this per se for sale for right now.
Correct, we do not.
So is that the difference? They had it for sale and we didn't?
I don't know.
I don't think they had it for sale at the time either.
Yeah, I don't know the particulars.
Just like throwing it in there.
that was kind of the same way it was presented to us, it was presented to them. Do you have property to sell? Yes. If you can sell it, sell it.
Right.
But now there's the waiver, so.
Do we have any bites at all on that property?
We don't have a proper survey yet. We were still waiting on the survey to be done.
We're not that far
When
yet.
school lets out next week, he's coming in to do the close surveys, because we didn't want to near our kids. So they're coming in next week to finish it up. It'll probably take them another week beyond that. And that'll be the start of being able to put the, I hear you guys saying, let's put the for sale sign on it, right? And I agree with that, because we are in a budget deficit, certainly.
And the back of Mill Pond, from what I understand, I think you've said it on numerous occasions, we can't sell because there's a water issue back there?
That's what the appraiser said. He said that behind Mill Pond would only be interested to very particular parties, and you probably wouldn't be able to put houses there. It's not worth a lot of money.
Okay, but we could still sell it if anybody's interested in it, but they're not gonna put a
They're not
development
putting
in.
houses.
Again, until I see a survey, and then Mr. Max Span, which is his name, sees a survey, he's not even sure, because he was estimating value, especially behind Lenoka. He just divided it up to lots, he divided it by square footage, he said going rate, so he's not even sure, based on access and how that would look. He just gave us a good faith estimate. Okay, so 2.1 million might be generous, I don't know.
Can't hear us.
He didn't give us a good faith on Mill Pond, right?
He gave us a 0 on Mill Pond, actually,
Okay, it's fine, let me know.
okay?
So is that's, are we looking at the board office, or did we even ask them to look at?
That's
that
all part of the
property?
survey.
It is,
The board
it's on
office
there?
Of course it is. Well, not to sell it, but I gotta live somewhere. All the kids think
And
it's
we'll,
my house.
we'll get a price there?
I don't know about that. We'll see what happens with the board office.
Okay.
And
Sell
you
it
know
or
I'm
rent
always
it
gonna be
out.
fighting you on the board office. I need an office.
We'll fight.
Remember, we're managing, you know, a
I
lot of
know.
money
I
out
get
of
you.
one office.
All
All
right.
right, so this is just the detail, you guys have all seen this, okay? This is exactly what we're describing, okay? It shows you, you know, if we've passed this now, so this slide's a little bit old, as you guys know, so the tax levy incentive is gone. We can't apply for that right now, but the hole still is there, okay? All right, that's 6.681867, if you're looking down the line here, that's the money we do not have right now.
Let me make
Among
sure I
other monies.
understand.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry to cut you off.
You're not
there.
going to.
Move this in.
Let's say we come up with the 6.681867 million.
How?
Let's say we do.
Okay.
I'm speaking
A benefit.
hypothetically right now.
Okay, go ahead.
That 2% will then never be increased, will never be added, that tax levy of the 2%?
Look at that on that way.
No, you're,
So
well,
it would be added back into the budget
Yeah.
if we had a budget to balance.
help me, I'm not sure I
You understand my
I get what
question?
you're
No, no,
saying.
no, no.
Help
So
me.
you want to submit a
It's always
tentative-
there.
The
That
two
was my
No.
question.
Yeah, that's on top of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, that's all I wanted.
So if we took the 2% and
Yeah.
the 1.5 out, that
Right.
6.68 could be approximately another million more or so?
I think it was 1.3 million, 1.4 million.
For what? I missed what you're saying.
Taking out the 2% and the waiver, it's approximately $1 million or so more.
2%, yeah,
increase.
2% is like $1 million more.
Okay.
well, then, let me just be clear, then, can we go top to bottom of the lines here, though? So you've got, you know, this,
And the health waiver's right there.
right,
Yeah.
you need all these monies
Right.
for next year,
Oh, the 2% 's
including
right
the
up there,
2%, 1.1.
Yeah.
You need, that adds to the property levy of 59 million.
6.
Okay? We get the debt service, okay, that's also what we charge the town, because that's our mortgage, basically. Okay, that's actually gone down, because remember, we didn't approve the referendum in any way, so our debt service number has dropped 24%. That's actually mitigated some of this tax increase a little bit. We need from the town a health waiver, because our health benefits went up so much, 3.1 million, so that's 1.4 million. There's some bank cap that we can add to the tax levy, and then the tax levy incentive, which we did not vote for last week, is the $6.6 million.
So that just does, all that does, if we get that money, is it allows us to open the doors for 24, 25, no, for 25, 26.
Yes.
Meaning that there's a good possibility that next year, around this time, we're sitting at the day's talking about another tax increase.
Correct.
Absolutely.
I'll get to
We
that
will.
Just want the public to know that.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
100%.
Well-
That's agreed to by everybody.
Because
Yes.
what, to make us whole, we need 20,
I'll get to
29%.
that. Yeah, I'll get to that.
Yeah.
A little bit. I don't have like all the numbers there, because it was a workshop, I didn't go into
Okay.
depth. But yeah, you just keep asking questions, I know you can. All right, so what does that 6.6 million represent in this budget? Okay, so you kind of can work backwards, or I work forwards into this. What does that represent? Okay, 6.6 million represents this. And this is, you can think of it this way, that the money's coming out, or we're putting the money back in. But if the money comes out, that's what this represents. Okay, if we can't fund the district at that 6.6 million more, this is what it looks like. The broad stroke, okay, this is over like a 48-hour marathon session with my team, all right, to say what possible draconian things could happen. Okay, the first one is, in order, the staff cuts that would have to result would result in this. We would have to grade band all the schools. Okay, it would not be grades 1 to 5 anymore. Cedar Creek would be grade 1 in autism with an average class size of 30. Forked River would be grades 2 and 3. And the special ed programs, okay, average class size for grade 2 would be 33. Average class size for grade 3 would be 35. Grade 3, if you can believe that. Winoka Harbor School would be grade 4 and 5. Average class sizes of 3 to 33 and 34.
And how many RIFs would we have to do to get to this?
It's a little bit of a guess, because remember, these are some broad strokes here. Overall, it's about 20 more staff members.
But I thought we were not allowed to,
Right.
according to Cindy.
Well, remember, Cindy continues to say, she actually wanted me to cancel this meeting. She says,
Yeah.
there's no reason to meet like this because you can't go any lower than the budget you've submitted to me. Okay, so all these things out here, she will not approve either.
The county BA.
Correct, county
Yeah.
BA.
So what do
So-
you want us
That's,
to
that's
do?
quote, that's, and again, the county BA, there's a funny
wanted us
thing,
to
everything with her is verbal.
raise taxes.
And Sharon and I are gonna start to pursue things in writing a lot harder now.
She's not gonna answer.
I don't know, we haven't gotten that far with her yet, okay, so, I mean, that's an accurate representation, I think, of what's going on. So, and she's a tough cookie, I'd say the things that she verbally said, she'll sit here and say, yeah, I said it, okay, so I'm not worried about any of those things.
So
Well,
let
hold
me
on,
make
before
sure
you
I
move on.
understand,
Go.
just in case it gets to where we have to reduce staff by 20, and we submit it to the county, they're gonna say you can't do it?
Probably.
Maybe,
As of today,
maybe, remember, and I expressed this at the last board meeting, my greatest fear is the state will do nothing for us. That's my greatest fear, that they will not give us money, they will not take it away, they will not involve themselves in Lacey, and we will have no money.
But isn't that
That's my
unethical of the county Board of
I
Education?
don't
That's
know.
provide a fair and efficient education to everybody?
So here's the thing, and this is just a noteworthy moment. According to our county superintendent and county business administrator, they cannot, in their memory, remember any board not passing a tentative budget.
so.
Can they ever remember any board raising taxes?
14.3%.
19%?
And Linda, I will always say that this is a multifaceted issue.
Yep.
You're not gonna begrudge your commentary,
It'll be
that's right.
25%.
Not gonna begrudge your commentary, correct.
So, but even if we came to this conclusion where we could eliminate all these things, okay, we still.
Which I truly believe we cannot.
I agree,
I would
100%.
never know.
I think we all agree.
Okay.
But right as of now, our deadline is over. So we're
Correct.
not even allowed to enter into that agreement. We-
Correct, that was her statement yesterday, that we are in
So
limbo.
as of today, we are leaving it in the state's hands, just so the board is clear.
It's already in their
We-
hands.
Yes, we have no say, and this is where we are, because we didn't pass the tentative.
No, we have a say, we just have to do it without the
We don't, because we
the
can't
tax
submit,
levy increase.
we can't submit a tentative budget. It's over, the deadline is done.
We have to submit a budget now.
No,
So you're
it's
saying we
over.
can't
No.
even make the
We
cut?
have to
No,
submit
she-
something.
No.
She's saying no.
She's saying no.
She says no.
Just
So
so
then
we
she's
we
right.
are
Why are
on
we
the
here?
same page,
She
so
says
we
no.
all know, because you didn't know that, so now we all know. This is our workshop, Cheryl.
To
I
do
understand
what?
that. But
Just so everybody knows the
but just to-
right
just to be
information.
clear, we
That's it.
can't make cuts.
As
Just to
of
be-
today,
As
yes.
of today, there will be no cuts.
That's what Cindy said.
Okay?
Well,
Because there's a
correct, all right.
firestorm right now on social media that everyone thinks
Absolutely.
everything's getting cut today, and I have an issue.
We're not voting today.
It doesn't matter. I have an issue with rumors going out to whoever's spreading these firestorms, that there's rumors going out that 60 teachers are being cut, busing's being cut, sports are being cut, and everyone is sitting here. If we know we can't do that, why are we causing mass hysteria in the public?
Why was it said that we already voted on it?
Why are we doing that? I know it's our meeting. Why are we doing that?
Why was it said that we already voted on it when we did?
Yeah, and I have an issue with that. I have an issue with people thinking that we're conspiring and that I feel like the public was misled. And I feel like when I was getting texts today, I was deer in the headlights because I knew nothing about this. So I don't know who's leaking the information, but it caused a lot of issues with people. And it's wasting a lot of people's time because there's nothing that's gonna be resolved tonight. So all these kind people came down here.
Well, I disagree with that a little bit. We're not wasting anybody's time. The crowd that just applauded behind us, like, if they don't understand the hole that we're in and the trouble that we're in, and I don't think they did, based on the crew that came out, and I agree with you, there was a social media storm, however it started, okay?
Someone's spreading rumors.
Okay, but there's nothing we're saying here is a rumor. Like, this is all real fact of where we are in the budget. And that's the problem that we need to face. If we can get the public to call their senator or call their representative or say no more, okay, that's what we haven't had yet. So now that we've not acted, and now it's in the hands of the state of New Jersey, if there's no more action on our part, I keep saying it, my fear is that the state will do nothing for us ever. Okay, and we cannot operate well. This is what operating without that money looks like.
And they might,
And that's these slides.
they might come back
So it's
tomorrow
not fear-mongering
and say-
by any means. You may believe it is, but it's
Well,
not.
because here's what's happening. I feel like the fight is with our neighbors, but the fight should be with our state, not the neighbors. So people are ripping each other apart right now on social media, and I
That's-
think that's
we wanna
unjust.
agree.
I don't think the
That's an
town,
ugly
I
element,
think the town should be
100%.
united, not divided,
Should be.
and we're ripping each other apart, and there's nothing any of us can do unless somebody in this room can come up with $7 million and donate it, because that's about it.
But that's only for
And
this
that-
year. That's not.
Yeah.
forget-
That's this year, and then next year it's another issue. So our fight is, we should get a bus, and all these people should be going to Trenton, not sitting here in this auditorium,
So
because
this
there's nothing
meeting
we
should
can
be
do.
more about how we could work together.
No, Sal,
versus-
we're talking here, this is,
I understand
don't
that.
address the crowd,
Yeah,
talk to
well,
us.
I'm talking to.
This is our,
I'm sitting here.
this is our meeting, Sal.
It's our meeting, but there was a dog and pony show
Yeah,
tonight
you
to
got
get
a
everybody
line.
here, so.
But this
It's
is
control.
where we are, that if
I
the state
understand that.
comes tomorrow and says we need to make cuts, as a board, need to be on the same page of what we are going
Yes.
to cut.
Okay, that's
And that's
fair.
why we are here tonight.
Okay, that's
Okay?
fair.
That's why
fair.
we're here. So
But
let's
we're
come,
playing in the
come up,
ifs.
well, because they might come back, Sal. We are here
Might,
together.
if, Should, scare tactic after
There's no scare
after
tactic.
Scare tactic. Why don't we put the fight to them? Why don't we invest in ourselves?
That's
for a
fine and
change?
dandy, let's do it, but it's,
Well,
if
let's
they,
do it
if they
then.
do nothing, if they do nothing, we
Then
need a
they
plan.
can't, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an educational lawyer, I'm no lawyer. But what I do is understand is a code of ethics. And I believe as taxpayers, the county, the state, whatever, owes us an obligation to provide an education for these kids in this building.
They do.
They owe us that. And to say that they're not gonna do nothing, I think that's just wishful
might.
thinking. They can't, we gotta stop with the might. What
Well,
we
then,
have to do
the
is call
solution-
them out to the mat
Oh,
and
okay.
say, listen to me, you can't tell us you're not gonna do nothing when we have an obligation to our citizens in Lacey Township. And that's the fight that we should be taking to them, and not just sitting here letting them dictate what we should do when nobody knows our county, our town better than us, and people sitting in the stands.
But
And
even,
you know as well as I do,
That's
if
why
they had
Kim
to
has-
stand up,
Kim and
they
Will.
would, and they would fight for us as well.
That's why they have a meeting with Mr. Amato right now.
Yeah, the 28th.
Amato?
Amato,
Or Amato.
right, just to
Amato.
get a direction
Amato, not you,
of where we
Amato.
can go
I
and how
mean,
we can
Senator
fight.
Amato.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully he has an ear, he's new in his position, fairly new. Maybe he has a whole different outlook and can fight for us. Of course, he's on the other side of the table, but who knows?
Yeah.
You know, he might have a voice loud enough that he can do something for us.
but Kim, my question is for you, so,
Yes.
let's say hypothetically, we sat here tonight and we made, okay, this will
The
happen,
plan.
this will be cut, that'll be cut, we have a plan. But what you just both said to us was that no matter what we present, the state, it's now in the state's hands, and they won't listen to us anyway.
Today, if they come back tomorrow and say, we need a plan, we need to be prepared. So
So
that's
you're
why
not
we're
saying
here.
they're not gonna listen to us, you don't know.
Nobody
You don't
knows.
Right, we don't
And
know.
right as of now, Cindy said
Nobody's
that
know.
it went above her, she passed it above her, or ECBO, and they're waiting for direction. So,
Who's
And how
above
that
them?
direction comes, we don't know.
the state, I don't know. Who's above Cindy?
Who's above the
Probably the
county?
Commissioner of Education. Yeah, Kevin
Okay.
Deemer is his name, right?
So,
Kevin
and then
Deemer?
they'll decide.
Remember that name.
Yeah, right,
So
Leonard?
Jack,
He's
any
been in
of
the
those
State Department
ideas,
for a long time. He's been
did
around.
you guys go over any of those ideas in finance that,
So
I
we
don't know,
did.
whoever's,
Yes.
yeah, so
Yes.
can you,
Yes.
can you enlighten us
So-
on that?
Well, let's answer the 800-pound gorilla in the room first.
Well, let's go,
Yeah,
let's,
we need to,
go ahead. What's-
Well, how about I finish this?
Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
We can kind of get on, I can move quickly too. All right, just to continue the same thing. This is what $6 million represents, and you have to know, and the public should know, they're here, what that looks like. You know, grade 11 pops out, grade 9 pops out. We always use ELA because everybody takes an English class all years, from middle school to high school, right? In the essence of time, this is what I can work out in the last 48 hours trying to get this done. Okay, transportation reductions, okay, all courtesy busing would have to come out. That would include on the other side of Lacey Road, on the other side of Route 9. All right, that's how you make up this money.
And what's the cost of that?
Courtesy busing for
Well,
all
that-
courtesy busing
yeah,
is over
About
$2 million.
But you're
About a
talking-
million? About a million.
could you go back to that other slide, I just want to take a picture of it.
The courtesy busing is only $1 million, is that what you're saying?
2 million.
No,
One.
million.
Oh.
And that's the 2.5
2.5 miles
Mile.
for high school.
middle school. As
Middle school,
the crow flies.
2 for everybody else.
And how much was the bait granting? What was that number?
The which?
The bait grade banning. What would that save?
It was like $1 million, but that's everything included.
And that includes staff.
Staff is off.
That is the staff. Grade banding is staff.
Oh, okay,
That's where you save monies.
okay.
So all courtesy busing, everyone walks, okay, unless you're that distance away. Amber would not walk.
Are you talking about elementary?
Yeah,
everybody.
that's everybody.
Pre-K to 5,
It's like-
within
it's the
2
law.
miles, walks if you lose your courtesy busing. That's the money.
That's
Okay,
the law.
that's where the money would be.
So that's the conversation that we had
Yeah.
the other day of behind you and probably even further south. Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay, it's a workshop. Keep asking questions.
Wait, you missed one.
Oh, what'd I miss?
Keep in mind,
Well, there's savings in there too. You're not, that'll be a later slide. But again, you're not running courtesy busing for that. You're not gonna run sports buses. You're not gonna run co-curricular buses, all that.
So
You're
this
gonna
is
idle
all
your fleet.
busing.
You'll idle your fleet, or part of it. About 5 buses we get idled, we figured? 5 or 6?
With everything, it was 7.
7 buses we get idled. 7 contracts, is how she phrases it.
so it was also mentioned in finance last week, I forget what it was now, I don't even know. That by doing this, we have to get crossing guards.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they can't keep the ones that they have now. The 5 or 6 of them now, hey, it's not what they thought it was, they can't do it, whatever, and so we're gonna have to hire probably 6 more. How are we gonna get them from?
Probably more than 6, I would say.
6,
I would
10, whatever it is, but
That's actually one group I don't have to run, the crossing guards.
it's, where are we getting these people from?
Yeah, it'll be a challenge, there'll be just challenges to all of this, of course.
Yeah.
Right, curriculum materials,
Yeah.
the curriculum committee is here, the full curriculum committee is here, right? So we wouldn't be able to buy curriculum materials, right? We've been talking about now for months, our ELA is expired in grades K to 8, and our high school math is expired. Because we have online programming with that, we have things that are not aligned because we've changed the standards in math and ELA over time. All right, so teachers will have fewer stuff than they had in years. Okay, and access to those materials help, as we all know.
Crossing guards probably gonna be 12 to
And then the big one,
15,
1,000.
no, people.
right? So $1.2 million, right? In this? That's the big one.
Are we currently doing the play to pay?
We are not.
Pay to pay. So why couldn't we keep sports, pay to play, and then have, what we talked about today, have volunteer staff and get, the stipends are $502,000? If we had,
That's contractual, I think.
well, if we couldn't have it, if it had to be eliminated,
Right.
instead of eliminating, and we had, I understand that we have to
Yeah.
have qualified people do it, but when I was doing some research, it had said like retirees, alumni, people that were in the community that were currently certified in those sports, if they could volunteer. I'm just trying to spitball some ideas here, because nobody wants, sports is important, but I know rec is, they have a lot of volunteers for rec, and the rec programs weren't good, and I know it's a public school, it's a little differently.
Yeah.
But as, if we had the certifications that we talked about and stuff I
You're
said.
not going to run a high-quality program with volunteers.
But at
It's
least there's a
fact.
program going on, like you're talking about, I'm just saying, if you have to cut, and this is over $1 million, it's a solution. I'm just trying to get a solution going.
Yeah.
When we talk about what some of these parents are paying to play AAU and club ball, I think they would make the investment in having their kids play high school ball. And I also believe that paying whatever that cost is for their child to play a 2 to 3 month sport does a lot more good than paying 14.2% tax increase over their life in Lacey.
But remember, last discussion was to do the pay-to-play, $150
A
a
student.
sport, whatever it was. How we were picking up balance, that is not the case. It's totally out.
So
Okay.
if we,
Quick estimate, it's over 1,000 a kid.
Right.
Yeah.
and the people that are on free and reduced lunch would pay nothing. So the people that can pay, pays for them.
Right, they
So,
take up the rest of it.
Yeah.
So let's
we're looking
talk
at
about that a little
$1,000
bit. Let's
for
talk
2 to
about a
3 months.
solution to that, and I have some solutions to that. So let's say we do have to pay $1,000 a player.
Oh, yeah.
I've lived here now.
What we've done, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I've lived here now for 18 years, and what I've seen is an amazing support from our business community. So if we had an opportunity to play for sports where families who can contribute help offset cost, scholarship options are available for those who can. Community partnerships and sponsorships from local businesses to support extracurricular activities. We do a great job of that now. If we can raise $650,000 for lights on the football field, I think we can duplicate that to save athletics and the arts and everything else that's at jeopardy right now. Fundraising initiatives, boost the club's alumni campaigns that help raise money directly for programs like athletics, music, and art. Facility rentals and event-based revenue using school space creatively to bring in income. I mean, those are some small ideas that can fund athletics for us. The other day in financial, we asked the board members to share some ideas. Mrs. Walker had an idea that simply said, let's do a GoFundMe. Let's do something. If we can't run it regularly, if we can't run it, right, I'm sure there's someone out there that would raise their hand to run it to help save athletics for this district. So I think what we have is we have many solutions. We just need someone to raise their hands and help get it done.
Yeah, we can't
there's a
do a
lot of legal
GoFundMe,
to
but
it.
someone in the public
That's what I just
can,
said, yeah.
and do a donation.
But even the donation, so I know the town was very torn apart about referendum and about the taxes. So the people that can afford to increase their taxes, that we're okay with the $1,000 a year or the $4,000 a year, there's nothing that stops people that they can donate to try to help. Well, I'm just throwing that out there, so, I mean, there's a lot of spitfire going out, and if people can afford it, some people can't, some people are very strapped and some people aren't. So if there are people that aren't strapped and they can donate, then there's nothing that says people can't donate. I'm just saying every little bit can help. I'm just trying to have some ideas. I know it's not gonna come up at $7 million, but I know sports is a very important program. So I don't think we have to chop it. I think we can see if we can find these volunteers.
Well, and so we,
Just don't underestimate what, as a secondary guy that I am when I taught and of course was the principal, you know, you just can't underestimate the amount of kids that we bring in who parents wouldn't pay, or they come in because they can come in for free. To fund $1.2 million year after year after year through donations is probably unlikely. Like, let's just be clear about that. Like that, yeah, you could fund some volunteer coaches, 1,000 here, 1,000 there, and I know they do that now in some cases. But again, you've said it, like coming up with $7 million is next to impossible.
But it's more sustainable than having someone's tax increase $4,000 as a base and then have them stay that, and then every year go on from that. You're talking about a 29% increase that would put homeowners 29% plus a 10%, you're talking 40% based on the current tax rate. If people have the money to even do a fraction of that, that's a lot less than the $1 million a year you're talking about. I'm just saying, you're asking a lot. On the other end, you're asking for such a heavy.
I'm just giving information.
I get
I'm
it,
not
but
asking.
I'm just playing devil's advocate with that.
Yeah, of course, and I said it's multi-site system.
And an investment in athletics is only 2 to 3 years, 4 years, whatever amount of time that they play that sport or involved in that program, whereas a tax levy is for the life of the time they live in this town. So I'd rather invest in my child $1,000 than have to pay $1,000 extra for the rest of my life that I live in Lacey Township, and probably get raised again down the road, because when we start next school year, there's a possibility that we're going to be having the same conversation.
But what about the family that can't?
That's
we
where
just
the
talked about
donations and
donations.
everything else comes in. I mean, I'm sorry, I look at the football field and I look at how many banners are around that football field. This community's involved.
well,
This
that's the
community
thing.
cares.
They're involved, and they're already paying, so to
But
go
they're
to-
paying for football. We're trying to save sports.
I get that.
And
but
not
like
everybody
even-
plays football.
I get that, but there's banners not just on the field. They do soccer, lacrosse.
I know.
We need
They
bigger
do all those. So,
corporations.
I mean,
That's why Sharon's idea was awesome.
Tell us our idea, 'cause I
About
didn't hear
the,
the idea.
the media, the
We should
the
talk
marketing
to the
guy that you were
marketing
talking
guy
about.
can come in.
So we met with a marketing company that could come in and do the signs for us.
Like in the high school gym and different areas, in the school even, and.
Everywhere, they could do it everywhere. They
And
could do the
big
football
corporations though,
field,
right?
the softball field, the gym, anywhere we want.
Did he give an
And they could do
estimate?
naming rights.
Did he give an estimate of what he thought it might, or he or she thought it might bring in revenue-wise, or they've seen in other districts?
He gave an estimate after the fact of $80,000 to $100,000.
Okay.
A year.
That's it.
It's annual?
Yeah.
Tom's River makes just barely over 100,000. They're the big dog.
yeah.
He says it's just not that much money. It's not something.
But
And
it's
he
something,
maintains
it's
it.
something more than what we
Sure
have
is.
right
So then
now.
where would that go? It would have to go to clubs and schools, divided. equal.
It goes to fund the solution. But that's the drop in the bucket of things, right?
So then we get 12
It funds
more
the solution.
advertising companies to do the same thing to make a 1.2.
1.2 would be a challenge.
All right, keep going.
All right, I think I have, just last slide. So just a lot of thoughts of mine, and then we'll leave it to you guys. and then move on. There's the calculation that the state's using. I want everybody to know this number, and it's poignant, and it's not any judgment of anything. The state, by their standards, by their calculations, claim that we should be spending as a school district 17 million more. So they claim. That's their number, not mine.
More.
Okay? More than we do now.
That would make us.
Okay? If we did the 6.6 that we need, then for this year, you're down 11 million. Just that's the math. Okay, of this.
I'm just curious, to get to that number, what is that?
29%.
29%?
That's the boss.
And we're not having this conversation.
No, I
Yeah.
just want to put that out there. It's 29%.
I believe it is.
29%.
I believe it is.
Then we don't have these conversations anymore next year.
Right.
Yeah, but
Right.
Yes,
It's a
that
tough
would.
That's even an
And then,
option,
of course,
but-
your tax rate
Yeah.
is, is what it is then, right?
Over
Not that it's an
$1,000
option, don't
more
get
a
me
month
wrong.
for your life in Lacey.
no, a lot more
No,
than
it's
that.
more than that.
It would be a lot more than
It
that.
could be a
Because you were
lot.
going off
It could be a lot.
the 14.
Based on your assessments, it can be a lot more.
meeting, right? Yeah.
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 Okay.
Not that it's an option.
I'm not
No,
saying
no,
that. I'm
but
not-
it's
yeah.
important for people to understand
Yeah.
that, or myself to
That's it.
understand
That's all
that
I
as
have.
well.
All right.
So we have some data, and I would like Mrs. Amato to share the data about how many actually attend the school and don't attend the school, and what we're asking for those that don't have children in the school district. We're asking them to fund the district 14.2% more, well, 29% more in reality, right? And I think it's somewhere in the area of 14% make up, or is it 28%?
Well, I wanted to ask you, do you know the percentage, is it about, we have how many students exactly, about 3,700? Is it
No,
about?
it's like
4,100, right?
About 4,000, okay. So we have about 29,000 residents in this town about?
31.
So what, 31?
Yeah.
So what's the math on that, like 13, 15% somewhere? What's the percentage of families that are?
But that's only, that's not including children, I don't believe. I think it's just
Families.
residents and
I'm just trying to figure out what the households are, like it's about
18 and
30.
over.
Do we know the percentage of that? Is it about, do you know what I'm saying? How many percentages?
I've never done that math. I think I know what you're asking. I've never done that math exactly.
Well, the reason I'm saying is because that's the implication of when we're looking at these huge tax increases, we have to understand the schools districts are extremely important, but that's why I was trying to say, instead of constantly trying to raise taxes, if we could try to do some sort of donations for the people that can do it, when you currently have the kids in the district, so you wouldn't put some of those seniors in such disarray of increasing their tax levy and having a new base. I'm trying to think outside the box.
There is a tax freeze, I think 2 online that they can fill out.
The tax freeze it's not applicable if you own like a second
Right,
house.
second home.
And then also if let's say hypothetically your tax is 8,000, then it's going up to 15,000. I think from what I researched, they still have to come up with that money and the state reimburses them. Not everybody has that money to come up with that money. So it's not as cut and dry as we all would think it would be. So I'm just trying to think of ideas as to not always let go of teachers, not cut things, and not constantly raise taxes.
A few things that came up from the public that I'd just like to talk about a little bit. Questions are being asked about early retirements. Just to be clear, we cannot offer early retirement, it's against the law, correct?
No, Tia,
Okay.
everyone's in a state pension if they're a full-time employee here.
Okay,
So they're subject to the state, not the town.
okay.
Can't offer incentives or anything.
No,
No.
it's all state stuff. They're either in PERS or they're in TPAF if they're full-time employees. It's all state controlled. We have nothing to do with it,
Just making sure.
other than the contributions that employees make, and we make a contribution as well.
I'm trying to, okay.
But it's not like squib, I'm gonna give you
Yeah.
early retirement if you get out, right? It's not like that. I don't know why I thought of squib. That was just
Okay.
old school
I-
New Brunswick company.
Yeah. All right, and just so we're all clear, we are not allowed to start a GoFundMe, but the public can and make a donation.
Yeah,
Correct?
they do the snap raises now every day,
Yeah.
all the time for sports. I know that in some
But I
of the
mean, like,
clubs.
the Education Foundation, that was private, and it was still part of our district, but it wasn't part
That's
of us?
that's really digging deep, the old
Yeah.
Education Foundation.
But that was a
Yeah,
nonprofit?
that was a 501c back in the day.
But that wasn't us?
It was not us.
Okay.
Can that be done again if someone started?
Yeah.
You can start a 501c for Education Foundation.
The reason I was thinking, because I was writing some notes, I was like, donation versus tax hike, donations are one-time and voluntary, and tax hikes are forever. So if we could have a foundation started, it might be something that,
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's gonna raise $7 million overnight, but it could be something that could build every
Yeah.
year So,
So I know that the Lacey Township Basketball Association has been trying to get a meeting with Mrs. Del Vento. They've been unsuccessful. They want to donate a lot of money. These are the same people who run Lacey Soccer that raise their own money, put a synthetic turf field on a hockey field in Gilly Park.
They just have to call Sharon, that she does the donations. Have them call Sharon. And that's how it goes. We approve it we approve it.
All right,
Yeah,
well,
if it's a donation, they put in for it.
Lacey Township, South Pisano and his board, they've been trying to give you guys some money and they can't get anyone to take it.
First time hearing of it.
Yeah,
So,
call Sharon.
we'll follow up. We'll follow up.
are we currently doing any rentals to the public?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay, all right, I'm just,
Do it every month.
All done.
what happened with the naming rights? We're doing naming rights, anything come about with
No,
that?
so that
Nobody
goes
ever
back
submitted.
to the,
The marketing guy.
business.
Marketing guy.
Yeah, we put it out
Donations
twice.
to market.
Nobody bid.
So,
Does the marketing guy work, does he want to work on commission, or does he want to get paid?
Commission,
30%.
30%.
Oh, but I mean, nothing up, he doesn't want money from us up front. He wants,
No.
okay,
No.
all right, no,
He
just
makes
want to make
all-
sure
Yeah.
that we're not having to
So he's
pay money to
1099.
people if it doesn't work.
If he sells something, he makes something.
Okay, so are we thinking about doing that as a board? What's the next step?
Finance
with
is
the board?
considering it.
Yeah.
Okay, because I think we should take the considerations very seriously.
Yeah, we
Correct
talked
me if I'm wrong, he's able to bring in some five-star, he says he can bring in some five-star.
He says, right,
He
yeah.
says, yeah.
That's why I rephrased it.
Yeah.
Part of that
Bring in
also-
some five-star donations from some of
Big
the
large
bigger,
corporations, yeah.
bigger automobile companies in the town, correct?
Yeah.
part, that also, you're talking about doing the donations and the business donations that you brought up before for the PTAs and the boosters, whoever it is. Okay, so this guy's gonna hit him to put a banner up for X amount of dollars. He thinks he's supporting the school district, but now basketball boosters or performing arts, they're gonna go to the same place, but for fundraising, because we need donations, because they,
But it's
whatever.
already done like that.
It
I
is
mean,
already like that.
Anthony's gives a check to everybody. And I've seen football Anthony, I've seen basketball Anthony's, he sponsors my
That's a
AAU
$200
team.
banner out there.
I know.
Is this guy coming
Yeah.
in for $700-800
Listen, I'm a small
banner? 'Cause
business,
he's-
I do what I can, and there's a lot I can't do. I used to be
Right.
able to do a lot more years ago. The economy is way different than it was years ago. There's a
Sure,
lot I
everybody knows
can't
that.
do
If you
anymore.
don't
No,
see
I'm
it,
just
you
letting
gotta
you know, when you can do it, you do it. As a small business, you have to say yes, you have to say no. And it's heartbreaking when
How
you
we're
can't
saying-
do it, but
how we
there's a
have
lot
to-
I can no longer do.
To all the sports and everything are gonna have to rely on donations.
That's what our town
You
currently
just
does.
said it.
But what I like about this
It's
fellow
harder
for
and harder.
marketing is, he
gets
probably
harder
go
and
after large
harder. Right.
corporations, the Home Depots, the Lowe's, the Kohl's, the ones that tell us corporate all the time that we can't get to. That's what I
Do we have an
like that.
alumni association still?
Not that I know of.
No.
They've started and stopped a couple times.
$7,000 a year. It was a crazy number.
They had one early on.
Yeah, and I think it just cost money, so they ended that. It
How
was like
about
an
some of
email.
our alumni who have gone on to do some amazing things and reaching out to them and offering some help with either fundraiser, just to get their name out there. I've tried 2 years ago, I brought to Dr. Pereira's attention, Chris Fleming. He wanted to come back, and I said to him, you know, maybe we'll retire your jersey. I mean, this is a guy who went to Lacey and still holds the record for most points scored in a 4-year career, high school career.
Who's Chris
And-
Fleming? Because a lot of people, I don't,
And
maybe
now
people don't know who he is.
he's an assistant coach for the Chicago Bulls. He was the Pat Riley of the European League.
And he went to Lacey High
And
School.
he went to Lacey High School. And I somehow managed to finagle his cell phone number, had a great conversation with him, and it went nowhere. And I don't know, Coach Vasil, I don't know if he's here tonight, but I'm sure that he could reach out to Keith Elias and
Wants to get paid.
what's his name? Terrell Smith, who's become a very successful business owner in Lakewood, come back and offer some assistance.
$6 million would be nice.
Right.
No, but we have to chip away at this. We're not gonna get the $6
Because
million
I'm the only
unless the state
alumni
gives it
sitting
to us.
here, and here's been a, if you want to call it a great time, but I don't know. This is all great to build on, but what are we gonna do if the
But
state
these
comes back tomorrow?
these
Yeah, but these-
solutions have been offered years before.
I understand.
and
I
Never- We're
there's a
not
big
acting on
number.
anything.
Right.
So we need someone to take action and.
Well, that would, the boosters could reach out, yeah. I
Well,
mean,
But if we
Yeah,
act
but,
upon it.
and we've discussed this, and we even had this discussion
Yeah.
in finance, this is all great, okay? And these are discussions that, yes, you should be having all the time, but we have a hole that
Right.
needs to be filled. It's not getting filled this way. And that's got to be, that's the reality of our situation. That's the reality of talking about it in a workshop style, and to give everybody the information that we have right now. And not being as transparent as I know you talk about all the time. That's what part of this is. So we're trying to be transparent about where we are, where the board is, where everybody is, where we're landing in this, okay? Those things, the 100,000 here, the 100,000 there, it's not filling what ultimately is an academic hole.
But this is my
Okay.
attempt at a call for help from
Okay.
some of the people who may be a lot more better situated to make a dent
No doubt.
into our budget than
Okay.
I am able to do.
But the call to help, where we have, call it legislators out there who represent Lacey Township, okay, that's got to be part of the call.
Of course.
Okay, I've made the calls, I know President Claus has made the calls, okay, where the action is what we're missing right now, from all fronts. We're missing action, okay, the Toms Rivers of the world, the Jacksons of the world, the New Egypts of the world, they're all missing action right now.
Well, they all
Okay, where
voted
they've
for the
all
voucher.
voted for the application we
application.
didn't vote for, that was our choice, okay, but now here we are. And a little bit of this, and a little bit of the warning, is that we are in the hands of the state of New Jersey right now with this budget in front of them. And the warning shot, so to speak, is I don't know where it's going to land as your acting superintendent. So we have to all be aware of that going down the road, which is coming very quickly. That May 7th/May 19th deadline is coming very quickly. Whether the state lets that go or not, I don't know. I don't have those answers, because even the state, in our conversation with them, she'll be the first thing saying, I don't have the crystal ball on this
Yeah.
one. It's never happened before. Okay, so she's being honest, and then I'm being honest back. Okay,
So-
and that's
I'll
what's
tell you
important
this.
here.
I'm
I
very
feel that's
proud of you
important, okay?
for taking this stance. I'm very proud of you for doing what
I'm
you're
trying to dig
doing.
in my heels with the state too, right?
What I need you is to stop fighting this on your own and ask everybody to get involved like you did tonight. And get everybody involved in the fight with the state, not with the school board. Although we are local politicians and we have to handle some of the brunt and some of the responsibility of the situation we're in today. This 14.2% tax increase was not something that the school board wanted to do, but what the state mandated us to do.
No, that's not true.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Because they said, you know what, here's how you can fill your
Nope.
budget. You can
Not true.
raise it, we're gonna give you an application to raise the tax levy to 14.2% because we're giving you no money. But let's take Mr. Pinto's spreadsheet out and look at who got funded and who didn't get funded, and I bet you that would piss everybody off in the stands when they take a look at it.
You know what else I find interesting, Sal, too, and to build on that a little bit, what I also find interesting is when you follow whatever papers are out there today, from the Patch to APP to NJ.com, we never make the papers. Isn't that interesting?
Well, it's time.
I find that interesting all the time. You know, it's just this, it's us, it's the local here, but then we don't make the papers. I just find it interesting. It's a
Can
commentary.
you call them to come in?
I have called them, but I don't call them to turn ourselves in. I go, you might be interested in a board meeting, you might want to come, and I still don't get a lot of response. Very interesting. Very interesting.
Because I think this would be good headlines.
You would think
What the
something
state-
I think
about
somebody
what
will
the
pick it up.
state's done and where we are, and as somebody said here tonight, it's ripping us apart. I think that was you.
Yeah.
Okay, and I agree with that. When I testified before the state, was it early this year we went? When I testified before the state, that was my opening comment. Okay, and the guy's taking feverish notes going, really? I go, yeah, you're ripping our community apart by the speed of where you're taking away state aid based on this formula. Okay, whether it's wealth of community, whether it's formulatic, or whatever it's gonna be. That was my exact testimony before the state of New Jersey. To the T. Somebody filmed it.
And what did
So-
they say about
So-
Wait, hold on, Linda.
Yeah.
I just, oh, go ahead.
Go, Lynn.
No, go ahead. I
Yeah,
was
just pass the mic around so they can hear us in the other room.
Go ahead,
That'd be
Linda, you
No,
helpful.
I was just asking what the county superintendent said about Lacey. Oh, Lacey can afford it? Was that her words?
Yeah.
In a roundabout way,
Yeah.
the residents of Lacey can afford it.
Remember, they're basing that, remember, as state
On the
employees, they're
homes by
basing
the-
that number on that below adequacy, the last number I put up here.
Yeah.
Everybody has a number, okay? We actually looked at it briefly today, according to the state, how many districts they consider below, like us. It was like 150. The rest of them are either equal, and some are overfunded, okay? But they say that that we should be paying more of that share. That's why those comments, I think, came out. True or not, it doesn't sit well with us because of commentary you've made. That's a big tax increase, 9.9 plus 14.24. That's a huge tax increase.
Do we
for
know of
anybody.
any districts that turned it down like we did?
No, we're the only one according to the state.
So actually, that's good, because for once, I'd rather be a leader than be a laggard behind. I think we need to be the lead in it.
And part of this is to everyone to know that that's what's occurring. Oh, great.
So,
right.
somebody asked about the email that Cheryl sent in regards to different
Or anybody, I don't know, because you came asked for everyone,
proposals.
yes, I'm not sure what sense, I never heard
But
what
this
that-
is,
Yeah.
you asked what you had. So, one of them, some of these hard contract negotiation topics.
Oh, so, yeah.
So I don't know
yeah.
how,
So if we can't do those, then that's fine right now, but I'm just saying,
That's the big money, though.
Yeah.
It's, so,
how
it doesn't
they
help
are
us
is
now.
6 period stipend,
Yep. Benefits,
shared services,
well, shared services are,
extra
that's a-
curricular,
it depends.
clubs.
It depends.
Like
We
administrative-
do shared services now with the town and with others, and that does
Health
save us money
insurance.
in the long run. It saves everybody money.
Because like,
The opt-out, buyback.
Right,
but like,
Tom,
would
general
it
budget.
save money for bulk purchase?
I feel like
Would
if
it
the
save anything?
benefits didn't go up $3 million, I think we'd be in an okay place.
The benefits increase
Yeah.
is destroying us.
Yeah, because I-
$3.2 million
Yes.
in 1 year is destroying us.
If we did if we put 3 million, if the 3 million came off, which it's not, but all through contracts, like however that works, we could put in the land sale, cut a couple
You're
little things.
getting closer.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Agreed.
so it's really,
Repeat the 3.2
it's about
I missed what you said with the 3.2, what was the 3.2 million?
benefit increase.
The benefit increase.
Yeah, that's just the increase, and that's not the liability,
And
right?
understand, every district in New Jersey saw
Yeah.
the same increase.
Yeah.
Okay, that is
Every
not unique to
household in
us.
the country is feeling it.
Correct.
They
Everybody.
feel the electric increase.
The
They're gonna
19.9.
feel the car insurance increase.
Right.
They're gonna
Yeah.
feel it all.
Correct.
I mean, honestly, we can't sustain living in New Jersey anymore, like, this is where we are. But,
It's a heavily taxed
yeah,
state.
heavily taxed state. So,
I don't
all right, so
know
moving
what else there is
forward,
to
what
talk about now,
What do we agree on, disagree on, if they said tomorrow, you have one more opportunity to pass a tentative? We have to
They haven't
pass-
done, remember.
But we have to pass something. We can't not pass something, so,
Oh.
well, or
Right
they-
now,
or
right
they
now,
will-
no, until I can negotiate with
Right.
them to say, but we
Can
don't
we
have an
try?
agreement, so I don't, so when I go back to her,
Yeah.
we've
Yeah.
talked on a daily basis at this point, okay? I'm not sure about the week we're off, but certainly tomorrow, we will have another conversation. They're closed Friday, so tomorrow we'll have a conversation with them. I continue these and Sharon, as my point person, as our point person, okay, continues these conversations almost twice or 3 times a day. Like, where are we? What can we do? How can we solve this problem? So that's our work that we just continue to do on a regular, if they tomorrow said something, we call a special meeting, we do what we gotta do, we make agreements, we do what we can. Right now, she's telling us we're not there, okay, because of the deadlines that have been missed.
Let me rephrase your question.
Yeah.
Can I-
Help me, Jack.
So, if they call tomorrow and they have all the answers, and we need to approve a tentative budget, and whatever was presented here tonight is it, are we in agreement to approve a tentative budget on that, or no? Because it's gonna happen, boom, 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 boom. Because everything we've been talking about is long-term stuff. It's not,
Mm-hmm. not
if they
immediate.
call tomorrow, and we need to approve by Tuesday or Wednesday of next week, what are we doing?
Honestly, I would
So,
have a very hard time getting rid of anything for the kids, in terms of
Right.
their clubs, their athletics, because we
Busing.
had a very rough year last year. And if we can leave the kids out of it as much as we can, I think that's number one goal.
so
I know, that's
$2
just
million
me.
that we have to
I
take back
know,
out
I know.
from somewhere else.
So I have a question for you guys.
So where is that?
Can we transition though to volunteer coaching model? Can we do that? I'm asking.
It's contractual. It's, so this is contractual.
So contract negotiations, we gotta negotiate.
But this hasn't
that.
happened like yesterday.
I understand that.
That's future looking.
Long
But I'm
term,
still-
absolutely.
But it's still
Yeah.
something we really have to talk about because it's still $502,000.
I'm sorry, I've been in business for a long time.
The stipend you're
And I've
talking
never
about.
negotiated or had a budget this large. However, I truly believe in my heart of hearts that if the county DA sees that we're working towards negotiating with the LTEA, we're cutting this, we're cutting that, we're doing this, we're doing that, I can't, for the life of me, think they're gonna say, well, we don't wanna hear about it. Well, we're
Well,
not
we
gonna
don't know.
approve it.
Well,
I
wait,
think they'll-
statutory
Yeah, the
deadlines that we
statutory
didn't
dead,
meet.
right, or missed.
So we failed as a,
At the end of the
as a
day-
board.
If you were doing that in September,
still-
maybe.
At the end of the day, we still need to have a budget. That's,
Yeah, but the state asked us to
You
complete
needed
an
to have a
impossible
budget.
task.
over.
That's
Yeah, we
gone.
did.
So for now it's gone. I'm not saying it's over forever, and that's a good point for all of us to debate here.
But we
I'm
needed
not
to-
saying it's
we
over
needed to
forever,
compromise. We
but
needed to
as
come
we
up with
sit
a
right
solution.
now, our opportunity to give the state balance is gone.
But the state,
For now.
yeah, but the state asked us to complete an impossible task. The only option they
That
gave
may
us
be.
was to complete an application,
So you
to
can
raise
raise
taxes
taxes,
14.2%. And I understand, Kim, you're gonna
Exactly.
say that that was just tentative, but let's face it, if you voted yes for tentative, they were gonna come back and say, well, you voted yes for tentative, and this is the only way to balance a budget. So how do you say no after you said yes? So that was a
Well,
no-win
I'll tell you why,
situation.
because it gave us more time, it gave us another month to put in the land sale, because that wasn't in there, it was 6 million, but now it's actually 2 million. There's other things that can go in there, Cheryl.
If
And
there
not
is,
only
then
that, let
where
me
is it
finish,
now?
let me finish.
Go ahead, finish it.
That we had a meeting, we had a finance meeting, Sal filled in for Skip, Jack and myself, and we sat there and said, what can we compromise on? What could we do last minute to get this tentative budget approved? Because we had that day. Jack called all the board members and said, what would you guys do? What can you agree on? Nothing came back.
No, I
So
wasn't
we
willing to
could
raise
have,
it 17%.
I didn't say
But
17,
you said 7, if it
Jack-
wasn't 14, it was 7, and I wasn't willing
7.
to go.
I know you weren't.
Yes, but that's
I
10,
get
that's,
it.
I get it, but I'm just
Cheryl,
saying
let me
it's 10.
finish.
You
Let-
can, but
Let
it's
me
10 and 7.
finish,
Go
Cheryl.
ahead,
But the
Kim.
thing is, we didn't compromise. We, as a board, put us here to not have a tentative budget approved, and that's just the matter of fact. So now we're leaving it up to the state. I agree. I don't want my taxes raised 7%. That was the number Will needed for us to get it passed. Everybody was asked. So don't keep saying 14%. It could have been 7, and this would have been off the table. So get
Well,
the numbers right.
If it could have been 7, then why do we present
Could have been down.
14.2?
Because that was the first time when we didn't have the other, we didn't have all the information, then we denied it, then we came back for a second shot.
Understood.
Okay.
But we did sit here last year, everyone on this board
Yes,
sat
I
here
know.
last year and
Won't do
told
it
everybody
again. I
it was
get it.
9.9%. Well, then,
I get it, but
Well,
I'm saying as a board, we
we're not
failed, we
magicians.
didn't pass it.
You're correct.
We have to take some responsibility.
I will not take responsibility for not passing taxes on my neighbors. That is,
Well, we have an obligation to
I
these kids.
understand that, but
It's
the
not
state-
just
also
about-
have an obligation to the kids' parents.
Yes,
Exactly.
If the kids' parents can't afford to live in
These
this town,
kids are
these
here
kids
for a
can't-
reason. They,
can't
listen,
go
a
to
lot of
school.
these kids depend on us keeping them here after school. They depend on their marching bands. They depend on all the clubs. And you know what? When these kids apply for college, they're gonna see 1, 2, 3 years in a row. The 4th year, it's gonna say 0.
Well,
You
then
think that helps them for their
Let's do
future?
pay to
No.
play, Ken.
It's not, it can't be done today.
Why not?
We had an option to, because we
could start right
can't.
away and start asking parents to pay their way to put
Not
their
all
kids
kids
into
can
the
afford it.
next
This is a
sport,
public
in the
school.
next
I'm
sport.
sorry,
But why
Sal.
can't we at least try?
We can try. We will do it, yes, but it's
Okay.
contractual.
We
That
keep
we
saying
cannot
can't.
solve.
We gotta start saying we can. We have to push the envelope instead
Well,
of
then
having
go to
push the envelope
negotiations, that's
in.
your job, you're on the committee, okay? This is where we are today, we need to just face the facts. What are we gonna cut? If we have to come up with $6 million, this is where we are.
Can you very easily say that you can approve 14.2%?
I didn't say
And I said-
14,
you did
Sal.
that. You
Did-
did last week.
No,
You
he,
did so. You did so in
Yes,
front of the
I
whole
did.
dais. You
I
approved
absolutely
it.
did.
You wanted a 14.2%
I did not want
increase in
14%,
taxes.
I wanted the application, because I'm responsible.
Application to do what? The same deadline that we have now?
We had 6% on the table, and
No,
nobody said
no,
yes.
No.
Yes,
that
we
was not the
did,
way-
you
I
were
was
in
at
that
the same
meeting. Yes, you
What I
were.
said was,
Nope,
and I'm gonna say verbatim. He
Nope.
said I can get by with 7%.
that is right.
And I said to Jack, and call me a
That is
liar
right.
if you want, I said, call all the board members and take a straw poll on what they'd be willing to do.
That is
We'll
correct.
need 7%, see where they'll go.
I had Sharon figure out
Yes.
3, 4,
And what did they come back with?
Nothing,
0.
0. So,
board
but my
stands
point is,
united.
it's not 7%, not
not even
14%.
7%.
It could have been 7. That's it. That's all my point is. Stop saying 14.
Whoa, let's say 7%, but busing would have been gone, sports would have been
Would-
gone.
would busing have been
Teachers
gone?
would have been gone.
Busing would
I-
have
I
been
didn't, I
gone.
didn't fully work that compromise solution.
Yeah.
7%.
There would have been a compromise solution in
Yeah.
there.
That's what me and Jack
At
looked at you
7%.
guys like you were crazy.
We all
Yeah.
discussed.
7%, you still gotta cut all these
It's
things.
way better than
I'm sorry.
less than that.
7% would have been 2.44, I would still have to cut off.
Cutting the
6.6.
busing, yes.
And we would have made some moves to
We would have made
limit the
moves.
losses.
Correct.
Move some things around.
But guys, we have to compromise at some
But
point.
at nothing, we're nothing. That's the 6 months.
Okay, so.
So now it's in the state's hands, so just so we know where we are. We don't have a say as of today.
Gotcha.
Okay, so I think we just need to go home and think about what we're all willing to do if we have that opportunity again.
We're gonna have
When will
to
you
And
find
that's
out?
it.
play as
I
a-
We
will
don't
not,
know.
I will tell you right now, if
You
we have
can
the
say no,
opportunity to
that's
raise
fine.
taxes again, I will not raise taxes
That's
on my
fine.
neighbors.
We don't know. We don't know. And Linda just asked a question, when will we find out?
Yes.
That's the limbo of this. We don't know.
Correct.
Okay, we call them every day. I promise that. I promise that to everyone here. We call them every day. And we're looking for answers. We continue to call Senator
Yeah.
Amato. We have a meeting with him set up.
Yes.
To make sure that we plead our case. You know, and we just keep going that route, and we keep going that route.
Yeah.
We don't want the things that are occurring, but we also need the things to operate.
I gotta ask you a favor.
Okay.
And I'm not going over your head, I apologize if I am.
Okay.
We have a unique opportunity tonight with people in the auditorium, in the hallways, in the stands tonight. We have a unique opportunity to ask them for help. So,
Yeah.
can you turn around and ask
Well, what
them
I'll
to start
do,
calling
well, that's what I'll do.
legislators
I'll
and-
post up all the people. I'll post it up online tomorrow. I'll post up all the places of where they can go to. I'll
Can
do
you
that
draft the
research in
letter?
the morning.
Can you draft?
I have the old letter.
Yeah.
The old letter from last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, there's one letter from 2 years ago as well, when this all was going on. So I'll give them a draft copy. They have to do their own, and I'll do that tomorrow.
Do you have the county commission, what are they called now? They used to be the freeholders,
They are commissioners now.
commissioners. Are they on the list?
I'll put them on the list.
I think
Why
we
not?
should.
They have a chairman.
I
don't
mean,
know
we
who it
have
is.
an ex-board member that's a commissioner.
He is for now, I believe.
Yeah.
Commissioner Quinn.
Right.
Yes.
He's off.
He's not a
He's gone.
He's off
commissioner
now.
now.
Oh, he's not? What is
Yeah.
he?
I think it was a freehold.
retired, I believe
but
he's
it's-
retired.
He just got another job,
Retired.
tax something maybe?
Oh,
Yeah.
he's off.
Yeah, he's off that
Well,
completely.
still.
Right.
All
Okay,
right.
so we do have to transition to public comment?
Yes,
We're
okay.
at an hour deep?
Yes.
Is that all right?
We're gonna
Yep.
go back to the day.
I think that's bad.
That's fine.
Because they'll come up to the
Can
mic.
we move this?
You're not going to.
No.
I can't even decide on the state. Like, that's the next move. They gotta give you the move. Information.
Kenny. How'd you hit him? I wish I could do that. Take two.
No, when the auditorium wants to know. I'll just tell them that they're gonna fill out now.
Like I said, hello.
All right, if anybody wants to go, now is your opportunity to leave before we transition. President Claus will transition to public comment. You have your thing?
Yep, I'm ready.
We have the clock of doom.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
For those who are in the auditorium, I know that our guys here just asked the question. The way that this is going to play out, and then Kim will read, President Claus will read the rules. We're going to do this room first, okay? If anybody from the auditorium wants to make a comment, they're going to come down towards the lecture hall and line up, okay? But I caution them, okay, that this room goes first, okay? We'll go like, well, President Claus does it. Okay, if you could, if it's kind of like at the end of your day, after you make a comment and want to leave, it kind of relieves this room a little bit. Okay, we're a little crowded in here. But those in the auditorium, if they are interested or anxious to make a comment, please come down to the lecture hall, but very neatly, you've got to line up in the hallway. If that gets out of hand, we're going to close proceedings. They're on their way already, okay. Okay. The other end of this too, for anybody still listening in the auditorium if they're not on their way down, we do have a regular board meeting tomorrow night. If there's things that are unsaid after we cut off board comment, okay, we have tomorrow night's time. So we're going to put a cutoff time on it tonight.
Yeah, what time is it?
It's 7:09. We're gonna do an hour, we'll do
Yeah,
it
let's do 1 hour.
8:15.
Yep, 8:15.
Okay, so we're gonna get through as many as we can till 8:15, because we are meeting again tomorrow night, and all volunteers up here. Okay, that's gonna be the way it's gonna go. If you wanna come back tomorrow night, we will open the floor again. Okay, so you have to read the
Okay,
rules,
here we
and then
go.
we'll go on this room first, and then we'll take outside. They stay outside until we call them in one at a time.
All right. An audience member wishing to make a comment will raise his or her hand, and when called upon, state their name, address, and affiliation, and intention to make a statement. Comments will be addressed to the board president. Comments will be made one issue at a time. Comments will be limited to 5 minutes. No audience member shall be recognized twice until all who have wished to comment have been recognized. This portion of the meeting is for public comment only, and there will be no questions answered. The purpose of this board meeting is to perform our business in public. Everyone is entitled to a public comment. If there's a question for the board, there's an established chain of command.
And Ms. Orms, you just brought up a good point. If there's groups of you that want to speak together,
Yeah.
if it's kind of the same thing of a group, come up together, okay? Because the same thing being said over and over again may not get us down the road too far tonight. All right, I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead, you can start. Just state your name.
My name is Jaden Almani.
Can you speak in the microphone? Thank you.
All right, my name is Jaden Almani. Today I would like to talk about school sports. People think that they're not important, but they're really important to kids like me, where it gives us something to have fun and compete in and improve on our skills to make us better at the game. And sports also teach you teamwork, discipline, and how to handle wins and losses. That stuff helps in real life too, not just on the field. Sports also keep you active and healthy, which is a big deal, especially with how much time we all spend sitting in a classroom and on screens. Plus, being a part of a team gives you a sense of belonging. You meet people, make friends, and you feel more connected to your school. And if you're into goals or challenges, sports help you set your own goals so you can be an overachiever and make yourself feel good. It's a confidence boost, and when you see yourself getting better. So yeah, school sports are important, not just for the game, but they teach you why and to enjoy yourself and teach you how to shape yourself.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Just a reminder for students, if you are a student, you can just say student. You don't have to say your name and address, okay? Thank you. Go ahead.
Hi, how are you? My name is Kara. I have 2 children that go to the district and one that'll be in the district very soon. The first thing that I wanted to bring up is so I'm a senior financial analyst by trade. I've worked in state budgets for many years, so I've done lots of diving and spreadsheets on all of these numbers. So I've even dumped into where the calculations came from the state and how they were put together. And one observation that I found is that because we had the power plant for all those years, our taxes were much lower for all those years. So if you look at your house, what it's worth in any other township, it might be $2,000, $3,000 more a year in taxes because we had that power plant. So I'm I really doubt they used that information when they put together the calculations for each township. So I was like, you know what, is there any other power plants in New Jersey? I Googled that. I found in Alloway Township is the only other one in the state. So I was like, just to kind of back up my theory, let me see where they land on the list. In the 24 to 25 school year, they were on the top 10 list with Lacey of the largest cuts across the state. So I feel like somehow, some way, the fact that we had all those millions of dollars put in from the power plant is what is causing us and Alloway Township to be hurt so badly, and there has to be a way to get that put into the calculations. And because the calculations are really just based off of how much our houses are worth compared to how much taxes we're putting in. They're not putting in that huge piece from the power plant. That's why we have that huge $17 million, whatever it is, the 29% of that we're missing. That's where the huge chunk is missing. And I've called the senator, I have the governor, I sent my findings, my spreadsheets, and just no one responds. So I really feel like somehow we kind of have to look at it. I really feel like that's where this huge disconnect is. And I don't know how this isn't getting put up onto the financial desk at like a high level. So that was the first thing I wanted to just kind of like bring up. And if you want to call me, Kara Lopes, you know, my number is 732-621-4213. I will volunteer any of my time to help with that portion of it. I'm nervous.
Hang on.
Secondly, all my kids play sports. You ask my son what sports he plays, he'll name 6, 7. I'll be the one paying $3,000 a year for him to play every season. That's fine, you know. But I feel like, all right, we have a $1.2 million budget we need to fill for the sports. That's what I'm here. 95% of the people here tonight are for the sports and extracurriculars in this town. 1.2 million, it might sound like a lot, in an $80 million budget is really not. You can find the money. Even if we had to fund half of it, that would only be $500 a sport for us. Now we have $600,000 left to fill. Take $200,000 from 3 different places, that's nothing. $200,000 is nothing in that budget. Get down, buddy. So I feel like we don't have to look at it as 1.2 million or nothing. You can divvy that up. You know, we can spend 250 a kid or 500 a kid, and then the difference, 200,000 in 3 different areas will be nothing. Like, I do this all day for work. Like, it doesn't have to be 1.2 million or nothing. Like, we can divvy it out.
I just have to caution you there, okay? We've been going through this for 7 years of cuts.
Yeah.
We've done all that work.
Oh,
I have to
believe me,
stop you.
I know.
We have found, turned over every rock for the money you're asking for. I just want to caution you a little bit.
No,
Like, this
I
has gone through
understand.
multiple business administrators, multiple reviews by the state of New Jersey. Okay, we've turned over all those rocks. The
No.
numbers that I presented tonight are hard numbers.
No, I
Okay,
understand.
there isn't anything else left under a rock.
And then if we had like a, I don't know, with a 14% tax increase, I really hope that 1.2 million has that difference brought down. Okay, now we're down to 700,000. From there, like I said, if you could divvy it out, just take 200,000 from, 12 employees alone would make up that 1.2 million. I know that's 12 different lives, but this is compared to 3,000 lives of students. You know what I mean? So I think we can find 12 employees to replace it. I could tell you 12 employees you can fire. No, I'm just kidding. But no, but I'm saying, like, yeah, 1.2 million is a lot, but it really isn't. It really isn't. You can find it. Like, it could be found. You know what I mean? And it'll change all these people's lives. 3,000 students in here. It'll change their lives for just a couple little changes. Sorry, I think I went way over my 5 minutes.
Okay,
But
thank you. That's
No,
5
right
minutes.
oh, hey, look at that.
Hi, I'm sure you remember me from last year.
You're a student?
Yes, I'm a student. I'm in 11th grade. A little bit about me. I am the captain of Lacey Color Guard and have almost been the captain for 3 years now. I'm also an active member of the Drama Club and the Thespian Society. You might remember me from last year as the girl who created a petition that got over 1,500 signatures. Mr. Zielinski, you said that none of our news outlets have covered our story. Well, that's wrong because last year I created the petition to save our teachers and I made headlines with Logan Edgeworth. We got attention. Maybe if we involved some of the students that this affects, we could help the budget cuts. Please include us. My hard work, along with the people besides me, all worked too hard for this to be crushed again. Last year was talk about removing the performing arts teachers and more. Now you're removing busing teachers in all sports. I did not sit in Trenton for over 6 hours for this happened again. I am extremely tired, and as an upcoming senior, I would like to have a regular high school career. My brothers are freshmen and are just beginning their high school career. To watch their hopes and dreams get destroyed just crushes me. It's not about how I feel anymore, it's about how my brothers feel, and everyone else in this room fighting with me tonight. Last year I spoke about how this would affect our mental health, and this will greatly affect our mental health again if you decided to vote yes. I hope tonight when you look into my eyes and the other students that you know that you're going to be destroying our lives. This school cannot get tossed around any longer. Please hear us and do not vote yes to canceling everything tomorrow.
No, we're
Thank
not
you.
voting, honey. There's nothing we're voting on. This is just a discussion.
Well, yeah.
There's no vote about any of this tomorrow. We
Well-
will let everybody know if there comes to a vote.
Okay.
Okay?
That's all. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, my name is Kelly Brenner, and I'm from Fort Good River. I have one kid that is currently in school and one that will be attending next year. I have a large concern with overcrowded classrooms. Overcrowded classrooms create serious and immediate safety risks. In an emergency, evacuations become more difficult and dangerous, supervision is compromised, and students are more vulnerable to accidents, injuries, and health hazards due to lack of space and resources. If we have to combine and have the class sizes go up with lack of teacher support, it's not that long ago that we had to impose social distancing. There have been, unfortunately, so many safety concerns that have happened to multiple schools. If that happens in Lacey and we have 40 kids in one classroom and one teacher, that poses a huge safety risk, not only with the poor teacher that has to then try to handle 38 kids in one class. Also, the younger children, how can you safely deal with 30-plus kids who don't know how to control their emotions and can inflict that on somebody else? We need to really strongly put the safety of our kids first and not overcrowd the classrooms or put the undue burden on the teachers to try to keep them safe while they're at school. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lena Bolaire. I'm in 11th grade. I'm going to try to make this quick. My phone's on 10%. I spent a lot of the meeting revising to make sure I had all my numbers correct. So I'd like to begin. As recorded in 2023, 29,714 people live in Lacey Township. Approximately 3,684 people are in the Lacey Township school system, or roughly 12.34% of our population. We can assume that if each child has 2 parents or guardians, then that would add up to 37.02% of our population. 22% of our town's residents are above 65. If they are above 65, many of them may not have lived here their whole lives, some of them who don't even have children or grandchildren in this school system, and they obviously don't have much of a reason to want tax increases. Including new residents and middle-aged people whose children are not in the district, that number is likely not higher than the minimum 37.02% of people who will be affected by these cuts. By the time we reach these estimated numbers, which includes others who may live in the district that simply cannot afford these tax increases, it becomes clear that there is a reason for the board's cut choices. Does anyone want to pay more money for or want to pay more taxes? Obviously not. Everyone wants more money in their pockets. I mean, especially us here in Ocean County, in which a majority are Republican voters, sorry, I lost my place, are in favor of tax cuts. And I wouldn't doubt a majority of the board stands behind those principles as well, considering a majority of them were elected as a Republican candidate. And if they want to stay elected and further on re-elected, they have to stand by their principles. As to not make all of us who have gathered here, or even those who are watching at home, or even those overcrowded in the auditorium, seem like just a number, it must be known that this issue is not a matter of party principles. This issue digs deeper than any tax cuts could into anyone's pockets. As a junior of Lacey Township High School, I'm in 2 sports and over 10 clubs. I play on cracked up tennis courts, a golf course that we pay by for our own fundraising, with student-bought materials, and I'm also a part of multiple clubs that were trying to be cut, such as Surf Rider, a club in which I'm the president of, and the Performing Arts, and although I'm not a part of band specifically, which was at risk of being cut last year, I'm the costume manager of the theater, which has done incredibly well this year, profiting $20,000 before the door, so we can continue displaying students' hard work, continuing our program. Not only do I turn to these clubs to keep a positive mindset, but also for something far more important, which is furthering my education. During my excellent AP Language and Composition class yesterday, we were working on a synthesis essay that is based on a prompt on how the generation of those who are currently aged 0 to 35 are dumb. The plain, simple word, dumb. And how this trend will continue to get worse. So why wouldn't the educators of this generation and those on the board want to work their hardest to inspire the bright minds of the future and send them off to further education? According to United States Census Bureau, 93.2% of those aged 25 years or higher have graduated high school in this town. But only a shocking 32.6% have completed a bachelor's degree. Now, I understand that higher education is not for anyone. It's expensive, and a lot of people in this town especially want to go into vocational school or pursue entrepreneurship. But what about those who want to go to college? I know that one day I'd like to be at the level of a PhD and become a marine conservation politician. There are some in this town who want to do even more, become life-saving doctors and nurses, lawyers, genius scientists and engineers that will change our world. How do you expect us to do that, learning in class sizes of over 30 to 40, with no extracurriculars and most especially no sports? Sports can be considered for many the backbone of the school. Multiple students who are seniors this year are receiving full ride scholarships to college because of divisional offers. Some students use sports just as somewhere to keep their mind off things and to feel good at something. And furthermore, the solution some of you proposed, which was playing club sports, is the most preposterous idea I've ever heard. Because as ridiculous as the suggestion for $1,000 per player pay to play sports, the even more ridiculous suggestion, which is turning to club sports, is worse. Club sports cost $3,000 or more per year. This is unattainable for most in this town, but a tax increase can relatively be much more affordable. In general, why are our clubs and extracurriculars put first on the chopping block? It gives many students a reason to go to school even when they're feeling down, or like they simply cannot cope with the unimaginable situations that some of us are put through. Why would we want our attendance to be lowered, especially for those who only show up to school for sports? I'm sure you all know of our district-wide attendance rates being incredibly low. I know some kids already can't access busing, which stagnates at our attendance, because they are charged a substantial amount of money per year to receive a bus if they live within 2 miles of the school, and if it's below freezing or raining, they can't make that 45-minute walk or find a ride, so they can't go. Some people simply choose not to go, and the solution is court dates and fines. But the subject of busing, how are the students of the high school, let alone the elementary school, supposed to attend without proper busing? I know it's one of our largest expenditures, costing millions of dollars per year, but cutting the big ticket items should not be the solution. We already cut dozens of teachers, and we might need to cut dozens more. You have all heard some students or former students from last year's incredible speeches about teachers' impacts on our community, so it can go unsaid as it is incredibly obvious that losing over 40 teachers would be a detrimental loss to the well-being and education of our district. I'm sorry,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. John Pinto, Forked River. The past week, I've been called racist. I've been called, I hate children. I got that one last night. So I want to make some stuff clear. Obviously, something was put out on social media that caused this frenzy. It was the sports cut for sure, the extracurriculars. For the record, I stand firmly against it. I don't think that that should happen. I have said that the education system in the town is the lifeblood of that town. I've said that right here. So I don't know where people think I hate kids. Total opposite. I've been trying to fight for the kids, teachers, and taxpayers at the same time, which seems to be an impossible task. All right? So last week, this school district was mentioned as the Titanic, a sinking ship. Even one of the board members said he was the violin member. He's just going to watch it go down. So I have a question. The Titanic, when it was going down, who were the first people that were prioritized to save? Women and children. Teachers and children. That you can kind of correlate that, can't you? We've reached the precipice here. Everybody wants to lower the taxes or not raise the taxes. In the end, the reality is something's going to have to get raised, okay? We can fight the state all we want. You know I want to fight the state. I'm down for it. Let's go, all right? I'll be standing in Trenton with you. But we're out of time. That's what it comes down to. We're out of time. I don't know what you guys can and can't do. I posted a poll today. I know it's just a stupid little poll on Facebook, but it got about 230 or 240 people that voted. And the end result of that, it was an 8-hour time, okay, that it went. Less than 50% of this town wants to cut sports, extracurriculars, busing, and all that stuff. The other 50% combined in different categories for different solutions. This top next category is a concession from the teachers union and a temporary tax increase to get us through another year. I don't know if that's possible. That's on you guys. But I think all parties need to come and work together. That would be the taxpayer and the teachers union. Let's try to close that 14.2% gap a little bit for the taxpayer. I've been told that by someone today, that the seniors are vulnerable in the community, and I get that, and we need to look out for them too. But in the end, it's a lot easier, and I know people aren't going to like this, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's a lot easier for a senior to sell their home and move to a more affordable place than it is for a family who might be tied here to a job, that have kids in the school system and everything like that. And that is the reality that Governor Murphy made this state. He made it hard to retire in. He made it hard to stay in. The consequences of cutting sports and extras and even more teachers are far-reaching. Sports played a huge part in my childhood. Learning how to be part of a team, lessons learned, discipline, the list goes on. And how does this look for the prospective families that want to look to move to Lacey? A school system that doesn't have a sports program where it has to be pay to play? I'm sorry, I'm not on with that. What about the kids that can't afford to pay to play? No. The societal norm that we have had for decades upon decades is that we fund public education for the next generations to come. We need to keep doing it. But we need to fight as well, because what the state has done is criminal. I have personally filed a civil rights complaint, okay? You know I've been emailing senators. You know I've been doing all this stuff. And I understand the people that are struggling with the taxes. I do. In the end, something's got to give. And in the end, I can stand here right now and tell you I'd be willing to pay the tax increase instead of cutting all that, the full 14.24%. I'd be willing to donate to your causes that you said. I've mentioned that. I've said that here too. Let's start some GoFundMes. Let's get something going. Whatever, maybe, but I don't know what the tax implications are of that. We would probably have to set up some type of an organization. In another long shot today, and I know this is a big long shot, but I'm going to continue to work at it. We have two massive billion-dollar corporations that have locations in Lacey, Walmart and Home Depot. Okay? I sent emails to their CEOs today, and I am going to continue to badger them and harass them until I can get somebody to talk to us. Because $6 million to those two companies is nothing. And maybe they'll contribute.
Thank you.
I'll take a seat.
Thank you. Ready? Okay. So my name is Cooper Mick. I am the junior class president, and next year I will be the senior class president here at Lacey Township High School.
And my name's Tatiana. I'm going to be serving as the executive board president next year.
So we come here today as the student representatives here at Lacey Township High School. Next year we will be serving on the board down there at every board meeting starting in September. And we want to talk about the impact that this proposal will have on our building and the thousands of students that attend our schools and that me and Tatiana represent today. The elimination of extracurricular activities would permanently weaken our district, leaving students to fend for themselves to find activities and opportunities that align with their interests. You are not only getting rid of sports and clubs, you are taking away vital organizations to our town that would have a detrimental impact on our school. For many students, they look for sports not only as a way for them to spend their free time, but as a way for them to get ahead in life. So many Lacey students have gone on to play college sports and have been offered scholarships based on their athletic performances. Without these sports, you are stripping these young adults away from their futures and leaving them in the dust. Not to mention the absolutely necessary skills that sports teaches you, teamwork and dedication, that students will fail to incorporate in their lives without being exposed to them. So many students have looked to sports as a way to cope with their various struggles in their lives. The amount of friendships, bonds, and interactions that Lacey Sports has given the students in this school and over the past decade is endless. This proposal will also harm our various clubs and organizations in our school. Our Surfrider Club, which Lena mentioned before, is one of the most active chapters in the Surfrider organization in the state of New Jersey and likely along the eastern seaboard of the United States, promoting the preservation of the Jersey Shore and a sustainable ecosystem for our state's marine life. Our Interact Club has been working for years to give back to the community, donating thousands of items to local food banks and community groups for those in need. Over the years, Interact has provided hundreds of students volunteer opportunities and crucial life lessons on giving back to the less fortunate. Our Student Government Association has been organizing our homecoming, battle of the classes, proms, and other school-wide events that have helped students have a sense of purpose and belonging at this school. Our DECA team have sent students to compete at the state and national level, helping students practice entrepreneurship while they are still in high school. There are so many more opportunities here at LTHS that help students get involved with our building, expand on their interests, and help them learn more about so many different fields of education. If you cut these extracurriculars, you will be restricting our students from their futures simply for monetary reasons, which I understand. However, it does not outweigh the benefits of doing this. I strongly encourage you to reconsider As board members, you are responsible for providing students with opportunities to benefit them, not take them away. I strongly encourage every single one of you to reconsider the tentative budget for next year. The effects that this will have on our town is enormous. On a personal note, I'd like to thank President Claus for stating that the main priority is the students of the school and acknowledging the accountability of the Board of Education in this time of desperate need. If the board fails to act, I would like to remind you, as you have seen tonight, that the thousands of students you will be impacting have a voice, one that they are willing to use and advocate for a school, no matter the cause. Thank you very much, and I would like to pass the mic on to Tatiana real quick.
All right. So when I first picked up an instrument, I didn't just learn how to play music, I learned how to listen, to lead, and to collaborate. When I joined volleyball, the volleyball team, and later the track and swim team, I discovered what it means to push myself to my limits, work to be part of a team, and show up even when things get hard. These aren't just extracurriculars, they're life-shaping experiences. But now, because of budget cuts, programs like these are on the chopping block. And it's not just about losing practices or performances, it's losing opportunities to grow, to belong, and to shine. Without band, I might have never found my confidence. Without sports, I wouldn't know discipline and strength that come from early morning practices or tough losses. These activities provide not only temporary opportunities for us, but they also serve as a stepping stone for our future. If you don't believe me, think about how many people in the school alone depend on sports scholarships to go to colleges if they want. How many students have used these activities to prepare for their jobs? I mean, I was on the Lacey Township High School swim team, and that encouraged me to get my job as a lifeguard, and it was one of the best experiences I've ever had, and I would have never even gotten there if I didn't know the opportunities, if I didn't have the opportunities provided to me by the swim team. We often hear that budget cuts are necessary, but we must ask at what cost. When we cut the arts and athletics, we're not saving money, we're losing future leaders, innovators, and teammates. We're telling students that their passions don't matter. We can do better. I'm not a Lacey kid from birth, but I did transfer here in 7th grade, and I was in awe of the sheer amount that this school district offers. Many students, including me, depend on extracurricular activities either as an escape or as an opportunity to be a part of something that is bigger than themselves.
Thanks, guys.
That's your final. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. I'll take a
Apparently,
parent.
you'll be back at board meetings next year, right? Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
And lifeguarding was the best job I ever had. I just want to make that note.
I work with the daughters of the Law of Aladdin.
I'll wait till I tell
Go
him.
ahead.
Hi, Spiro Kitsanis, Forked River. Talked about insurance. Obviously, insurance is a big part of New Jersey, and how the increases are extreme. So we mentioned the increase this year was $3 million. So I don't know if we're able to do this, but some type of insurance concession made by the teachers, still give them coverage, put them in a lesser plan, or right off the bat, you're saving $3 million, maybe even more. Now, I don't know if the state is allowing that, but obviously the state's not helping us. So we're putting it in the state's hands. We put this back to them and say, give us the money, or we have to make these concessions. So that's $3 million right there. I know it's still not getting us there, but it's money. So I feel like the board should look into insurance and put it out to the teachers as well, see if they have any thoughts. Obviously, they're not going to lose jobs this way, but they'll lose the coverage, maybe only go to just family members, take them off and just keep the teachers. But these are options that desperate times we're in that we have to present to everybody.
Thank you. Let me grab this. Yeah,
Hello, my name is Donovan Mehta. I'm in 12th grade. And yes, you may think that I shouldn't be here because I'm a senior, but I'm the president of Anime Club, the secretary of Fishing Club, and an officer of Selecting Club. The reason why I'm here is because I'm here to protect our after-school clubs and sports. With my 4 years of being here and with how many clubs I've been in and people that I've met some amazing people that have changed my life and have made a great impact on it as well. With you guys getting rid of sports, it will look very bad for those upcoming seniors because the first 3 years they have played sports, and with their last year having no sports being played, most of these students here in this lecture hall and in the auditorium watching right now are going to college for sports or to try and get a scholarship in that sport. I am also here to protect this high school for my younger sibling of mine so she can have an amazing high school career, if not an even better one than I did. And there are so many teachers here that have made high school so much fun for me for me to be here and have helped me when I was feeling a certain way. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to go for a parent. And just so we know, at about 10 of, we're going to invite them to come in and have their public comment, so it's equal time. So if you don't need to use your whole 5 minutes, you just be quick.
Hi, Lisa Flores, Forked River. I just would like to suggest, I don't know if it's something that's been put out there before, organizing a trip to Trenton with the town. Maybe it's something that we could all pay some money to pay for the gas and the bus driver to have school buses take us there. That'll get media coverage. I'm sure plenty of people that are willing to show up here would be willing to sign up and pay their part to go to Trenton and make some noise and help get that eye on us and help with that, not just by reaching out, but making a bigger wave in doing that.
So just so that comes up again,
Yes.
I don't mean to interrupt you because I've been to Trenton.
Sure.
You need to get an audience.
Absolutely.
So, well, that's a big deal. Just walking around outside of Trenton, which I've done with our school, gets you nowhere.
But that's
If
also
you can
part
get
of why
an
I'm saying with
audience,
the school
if you can
buses.
get an audience and get a bus of people to go testify, that's the trick. And that's the hardest thing to get.
Sure.
Okay, so just taking buses randomly and going there, I've done that. I've done that with Tom's River. It's ugly.
I'm
And
saying
they
that
don't
might help
appreciate
get the news coverage, though, that you were
it.
saying
Didn't
that we
even get
so
us that
desperately
back
need.
then. I caution you. You got to get an audience.
Okay.
Okay? And I'm sorry.
That's okay. I would also like to point out that here in Lacey, we do have some fantastic educators, and I think that it's absolutely unreasonable to ask the educators who are here for a job to earn money for their own families to take concessions in order to maintain their job. They are here to put food on the table for their families. Asking them to take cuts in insurance. Insurance is one of the few things that they get as a benefit as an educator when they are severely underpaid if they had a similar job. Most teachers have at least a bachelor's degree, if not a master's degree or higher education. And if they were in any other field, they would be making way more money than they do now. Yes, they love our children. I have 3 children in the district myself. I have the benefit of seeing their impact on my kids' lives, sorry. But they are ultimately there to serve their families and provide for their families. So asking them to take any cuts is absolutely unreasonable, and that's why they have those negotiations in place. So I would also like to move on to class sizes. Class sizes over 30 as a teacher is absolutely untenable. It is not an option. These kids cannot learn. These teachers cannot manage. We have seen over years how these, especially since COVID, those things are getting better, but how behaviors and social emotional well-being of everybody, teachers, students, staff, has been impacted. And having these large class sizes over 30, 35, 40, anything in those numbers is astronomical, and asking a single adult to manage 30 third graders or 30 high schoolers, love you all, but it's a lot, okay? And it's not reasonable to do. So finding a way to manage those class sizes is super important. I know most people are here for the sports and clubs, so I will get to that very quickly. You guys have heard it from them. You know, I'm not gonna spend a bunch of time on it. Studies have shown that students buy in by getting involved in these activities. It's important. It gives them a sense of belonging and importance and a reason to come to school. They make that much more clear than I need to, so I will move on. I also love the idea of having student involvement, some grassroots efforts from the students like they suggested. They want to get involved, have them get involved. Let's open up more pathways to make that available to them. Lastly, I will finish by saying we have a very knowledgeable town in that we have a lot of different people with a lot of different expertise. Yes, ultimately you are the board. Yes, ultimately the decision lies with you. But don't forget that there are people here. I'm not saying myself, but plenty of other people. I do not claim to be the smartest person in the room, but there are plenty of people here who might have expertise in areas that, guess what, you guys have looked at it 500 times. A new set of eyes might not hurt to look at something and find that little bit that we can pull from here or that little bit that we can pull from there, or a new suggestion that hasn't been brought up just because you guys have been hashing it over so much. I greatly appreciate all that you guys are doing and trying to resolve this. It's an impossible task that I do not wish upon any of you, but I am grateful that you're taking it on. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Addison Del Maestro, and I'm a freshman here at Lacey Township High School. Starting off my year with my favorite sport in the world, field hockey, was the best thing ever. Starting with my coach, Miss Winkle, she has been there for me in so many ways besides my coach and still is. I also made connections with the girls at practices, and even meeting people who are my best friends today is the best feeling. I also participate in lacrosse here as well. The lacrosse coaches and girls lighten up my day after having a bad day. Their support and love is all I could ever ask for. These two sports have impacted me in a positive way. My confidence is higher than ever and made me come out of my shell. When I'm out on the field, I forget about all my problems. Hearing about the possibilities of sports being cut hurt my heart. My coaches have made me a better person. Most importantly, their dedication and time after school for these sports really mean the world. This time and effort show that they want to teach us and help us to become better is true worth ethics and dedication that can easily be thrown away by this choice. Some people cannot afford for clubs or out-of-school sports, and school sports is their only option. It is important for these sports to be here to connect with people and better yourself mentally. I also participate in drama. Coming after school and spending hours with the people who have put their hard work and dedication to these plays brighten up my day. I love acting and singing with a passion. I dedicated my life to drama for 5.5 years, and the thought of this being cut off hurts my heart. These clubs impact people in a positive way, and people make connections and find a relationship with their directors. Drama has become a second home to me and many people in the community. My dedication to this will never leave. The drama club have spent hours and money for these plays, and for it to possibly be gone in less than a year is truly unfair. Someone sitting in this room right now with these clubs and sports is their escape from their home life or their school life. I hope you understand, and please consider this battle we are fighting.
Thank you. This will be the last one for this room. If there's extra time, we can come back in, but it's only fair to the
You
people
don't
in
have
the
to
hallway.
leave,
Yeah.
we're going to call you outside. They've been waiting for us.
Here.
Go ahead.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. Michael Ryan, president of the LTA. I just want to start off by saying how proud I am of almost every student in this room that's somehow related to me, or whether I've had it through Honor Society, as a student, current student, whatever. I'm really proud of you guys tonight. Great job. So I'm going to start off saying some things that as a board are not going to go over well. You may not like my comments tonight, but I think it has to be said, and I think you need to hear it. Being a math teacher, numbers stick with me. They resonate in my head all day long. And some things I've been hearing over the last budget meetings and sit down with administration and the board members. The last slide that we saw at one of our budget presentations, and I want to hit this because it was mentioned multiple times, that the average tax increase over a 10-year period was 1.58%. I'm going to say that again because I want that to resonate, because even my kids that weren't great at math will get this. Over a 10-year period, the average tax increase was 1.58, including the 9.9 that we got hit with the sticker shock of last year. And I get it. We have responsibility as taxpayers, but we also, as board members, our first responsibility is to our students. When you were sworn in, it's to keep our schools going. I've been around 20 years. I've seen tons of different iterations of this board. I think in this room, maybe 2 are the only ones that have been here as long as me, okay? And I want to say this. It is a tough decision to make, and I realize that. I understand we have grandparents here, we have parents here, we have alumni on this board, and it is a tough decision to make to look at your neighbors, to look at your friends in town and say, hey, listen, we have to go another 14.24. I get that. But keep in mind, the state has given us options. They have cut our funding, but they have given us options. I have students in here that I went with Trenton last year that we spoke, okay, and part of that resolution was we are going to allow the district to go above the 2%, which got us to that 9.9. And yes, 29 is a huge hill to get to. The problem is that we have not gone to our guaranteed 2% from the years that went into place. And it's simple math. Exponentially, we are not there. We will never get there, which is why new legislation went in as guardrails moving forward to say that no district will lose more than 3%, okay? I know we missed the deadline for that application, but I don't care what we need to do. We need to get on that phone this week and say, hey, we need to fill out that application. There are other options in there. Being the only district in the county, I get it. We're upset at the state. We're bad at the state. Guess what? We are not strong enough in Lacey Township to go up against the state. Where our numbers and safety lies in is joining with other districts across the county. There are other districts that are very similar situations to ours, and we need to address that. There were some things that were brought up here during tonight that were great at the workshops, some things that we've talked about before. I'm watching Maurice's Clock of Doom up here. We had, and I'm going to address it, we talked about donations. That is a great and phenomenal way to raise money. We have tons of benefactors on our signs, on our sports, on our fields. It is great. Unfortunately, that is not enough. That is not sustainable. That is just a drop in the bucket. And I understand that going up another 14.4 or 24 is going to create a new baseline. But again, if we're going to get anywhere with the state, they're going to come in and say, you're not doing your fair share. That's what it comes down to. No matter how much we ask for their help or what they're going to say, we've given you opportunities. Legislation that allows you to go above the 2%. We've given you opportunities with the guardrail system that went into place. We don't like it. I get it, and rightfully so. But this is the only way that mathematically we can catch up. Because if we don't, we can sell off a piece of property. That's a Band-Aid. We're never getting that property back. We're going to continue to be in this boat year after year after year. And I heard Jack say it at our last meeting, right? We are not getting any closer to where we need to be. And that's unfortunate. These students that are here, we know these cuts, we didn't want to make these cuts, but this is the only way we survive. So as I finish up here, I'm going to leave this to you. Do you want to be known as the board a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now? Because like I said, I've seen a lot of boards, okay? Do you want to be remembered as a board that saves some people some money? Or do you want to be the board that's remembered for changing the landscape of this district and not for the better? I want you to resonate with that tonight. I want you to think about that because it is a hard decision to make, but we have to make the hard decisions, and that's where we're at. And I want to keep in mind, it cannot come off the backs of staff. We've lost 150 staff members in 7 years. We are at our bare minimum. We even have our grounds guys that are on the chopping block right now, and that is insane. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
You can go right to the podium. Just say if you're a student, and then you can start your 5 minutes.
How y'all doing? I'm a student here at Lacey Township. Oh, my bad. How y'all? Can y'all hear me now?
Yep.
How y'all doing tonight? I'm Devin. I play lacrosse, football, and those are the main sports I play now. The reason why I'm up here speaking to y'all tonight is because I use athletics as a way to get out of the environment that I'm from. I'm not from here. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. Growing up on the rough side of Cincinnati, we use athletics to block everything out. We use music, athletics, and friendships. Now, athletics, it's taught me a lot of things, discipline being one, how to be a better person, and how to get along better in the community. Now, when I read the message this morning that they're cutting all athletic sports, I'm not going to lie to y'all, I started crying. I'm a junior this year, so next year's my senior year. I've had a lot of things going for me athletically. My sophomore year, I started at my old school for varsity, and then I blew my ACL out. That was a damaging injury to me, and I've just used my senior year as like a comeback. I've always wanted to be the star of the school and everything, and when I heard that the athletics was getting cut out again, like I said, I started to cry. And I want to help y'all understand, like, some of the kids here, we use athletics as like a way for us to, like I said, get away from our environment. Some kids don't want to go home after school because they don't have a good home environment. Again, like I said, growing up in the rough side of Cincinnati, athletics was the main way we blocked everything out. And so when, I fell in love with Lacey the day I got here and everything. It's a great school. Last year our athletic program was going through a rough spot, but that's okay. We can make it through it. And cutting them, I don't think it will do the citizens of Lacey any good. Everybody who plays athletics here at Lacey, we wear the Lacey pride, we wear the Navy and Cardinal, and, we enjoy it. But taking that away, that takes a sense of purpose away from some of us students. And especially me, being an athletic and a scholar, athletics also help with college. I want to go to college, and I need athletics as that help. It gives a way better report for your college if you have 4 years of athletics. I'm actually applying to colleges now, and if I have to tell them, oh, I didn't play my senior year because of budget cuts, they're either going to laugh in my face or, be like, well, I feel that. I understand there may not be much for y'all to do, but I really hope that, like, this speech has reached y'all, and, if there is anything we can do, I heard during the meeting y'all said $1,000 per student to play maybe. That won't help us any because, not everybody has $1,000 they can just throw to play one sport. Some of us play sports spring, fall, winter, summer. And, a lot of us, I see some of my fellow teammates in here, we've been putting in work in the off season every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and I don't want all that work that we've put into the weight room and stuff and the training just to go to waste. Like I said, I understand there may not be anything for y'all to do about it, but I really hope that y'all can find something out to do because, like I said, it won't help the citizens of Lacey and the students who go to this school. Again, mental health is a big thing, and a lot of students, including myself, use that to deal with some of the stresses we got going on, both in school and at home. I read an article, the students nowadays have the same mental capacity of mental asylum patients in the 1950s, and athletics is one of the #1 ways to express and change everything that's going on. I see my time is running out, so I just want to say thank you, and do y'all have any questions?
No.
Thank you. Y'all have a good one.
Yeah, I'll do the next one.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ryan Conlon. I'm currently a sophomore in the STEM Academy. Today, I would like to talk about the possibility of sports and activities being cut entirely from our district. This seems like an outrageous possibility to me, as well as many of my peers. Due to my sports and activities, I have learned to improve and grow in such extraordinary ways. Something that may not appear visible from the outside is that 3 years ago, I didn't have the strength in my legs to walk. I didn't have a voice to be heard. I was a small boy who felt trapped. Through my guidance in both wrestling and band, I've built myself up, both in a physical and mental aspect. Additionally, I would like to stress the point that these two activities can be compared to as vastly different worlds. yet I am changed for the better because of both. Both of these activities and sports can be seen as two completely different places of extracurriculars to go after school and a place of sanctuary for kids to feel safe and develop their personalities. I guarantee that there are kids out there right now in Lacey who have had similar struggles to me and will continue to learn and grow through these extracurriculars that they decide to join. The alternative option to this leads to these children not developing their disposition and place in the world. They will go on and remain silent without ever knowing they become more. Furthermore, the bond students make with each other through these extracurriculars is greater than one is found in just in classes. These friendships are what keep people alive and in check. This is an excellent example of how it helps for mental health and keeping kids alive and making sure that they feel like they have something to live for and feeling like they belong. Having a friend that also performs with you or has similar goals to you will help push you in a positive direction. As said in Proverbs 27:17, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. This phrase is significant in the fact that it shows how throughout history, people need to work with each other and form these companionships to succeed. We see this in major league sports divisions. We see this throughout college. We see this throughout elementary. And I'm sure all of you have made a friend through a sport or activity that you'll never forget and have pushed you to succeed. I know that for sure. I wouldn't be able to get where I am without the support from my section and band or those that I partner up with in the wrestling room. Whether I was marching in a scorching hot field with sun sickness or walking through the snow to a cafeteria with a couple of mats and teammates, I knew I was supported and felt accepted. To conclude my statement, I just want to share with you all that the thought for some, sports weren't always a lifelong passion. For some, it unexpectedly saves them and transforms them into a person for the better. Someone who would have hidden stayed silent in a frail body and can become an individual that grows the confidence to present their thoughts to their community. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
John Tomerl, junior class. I don't really have a planned speech or anything about that, but I want to say I'm ashamed at these sports being cut and everything else being cut, you know. And I feel like I appreciate everything you've done, but I still think there could be more done. I think I have a perfect idea. Why don't we get all these kids on a bus and send them to Trenton to protest Governor Phil Murphy for not giving us any money? It's an idea. I'm here to support everybody. I'm here to support everyone's enrollment. No sports, everybody's going to leave. We're going to lose everything. This is not what our school district wants. This is not what anybody else wants. We want to be here. And as I'm going to be a senior next year, I want to be a captain of a team. And I bet you $10,000 that there are many more captains that are about to get ready to go up and be a captain of their sports team. They want to feel that. I want to feel that. And as a vice president of my junior class, hopefully senior class, I'm here to support them and support everybody else in this district. We have to do more. I'm asking everybody to go on social media. Go after the governor. Go after every person that you can to get us money and get us in the right spot. Because right now, this direction is not a good direction. It really isn't. And again, I'm not going at you. I'm going at the governor. I appreciate everything you've done. But this idea of sending people on Trenton on buses to protest is an incredible idea, and I think everybody else in this crowd would agree with me. We need to make a voice. I understand that you're doing everything you can to get your voices heard, and you want us to get involved. This is the top way to get everybody involved. Get everybody there, everybody, to make a fight happen. Because we all need to fight. Because if we don't, our school district is going to fall apart, and it's getting there soon. I appreciate everything done. I thank you for the time for letting me speak tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
For the record, Little Egg Harbor Board of Ed school president wants to
We're just going to follow. Thank you. Go ahead. Go ahead. You can start. You can start.
As we all know by now, school sports, teachers' jobs, and so many more activities will shut down due to Lacey Township's budget cuts. Since 7th grade, I've been playing and making progress with 3 sports: field hockey, basketball, and track. Although I could come home some days and say how much I wish I could take back joining sport, sports play a big part of my life. Sports clear my mind as well as so many others, along with clubs and different activities as well. The reason for the speech right now is to spread awareness and show that there is or could be another way to fix this. For personal experiences and a breath of reality, some families do not have enough money for rec teams, travel teams, outside clubs, and so much more. I cannot express how grateful I am for these past few years of school sports. Students doing fundraising for sports, parents donating is the biggest help for each team. We risk not losing just the programs, but the valuable lessons they teach us. Sports teach teamwork, resilience, and dedication, qualities that extend far beyond the field or court, including the talent you have. They provide a sense of community and belonging, helping students to form friendships and connections that can last either a lifetime or a short time. Let's not forget the impact on our mental health. Engaging in sports and activities can be a crucial outlet for stress and anxiety, especially for these challenging times. Without these programs, many students may feel lost or disconnected, which can have lasting effects on well-being. I understand both sides of the situation, but we're all here to fight for our own.
Thank you. Baseball team can put it together. They're good. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Sophia Capone. I play softball and volleyball here, and I've come here to speak about how this would affect so many people. Not only would this affect me and my team, but many other students here at Lacey Township. I'm a freshman, also this would affect me for the next 3 years of my high school career. High school sports, clubs, and educational programs are very important because this gives kids something to strive for, and this helps them achieve their goals in life or even going to college and having a successful future. I really hope we can figure out another alternative solution because dissolving all sports and clubs and extracurricular can impact somebody's life and take away something that's very important to somebody, something that they can call second home, and I just think a solution would help us out. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Jersey Simmons, and it's come to my attention that the extracurricular activities in the high school being banned and taken away from the students has been discussed, is being considered. I see the reasoning for the removal of these clubs and sports, but I just can't wrap my head around what this will do to the students at the high school. I've been a part of the many sports and clubs for our school and schools previous, and I've seen and showed that these sports and clubs can help students in so many ways, whether it's helping them socialize and make friends, helping them raise their athleticism, aiming for scholarships after graduation, and etc. I've experienced firsthand the changes it can make on a person, and one of these people includes me. These extracurriculars have led me to want to do more, meet more people, and since 4th grade, I've taken part in these clubs. Yes, I've had days where I come home and wish I never did them, then days I come home and wish I had those clubs. But there are times during the summer where I'm just pleading for school to start right because I miss the friends I made during these clubs. Taking that away can and not only will damage students' motivation here at the school, but it can deter relationships within students and their coaches, directors, leaders, and any other staff. Not only are you taking away one of the most vital things in a student's high school career, you are taking away the jobs of teachers who barely make enough as is. Without any of those, we won't be able to experience any of the normal high school life, especially those future Lacey students. If you're also concerned with the money that goes into the athletics and clubs of the school, why not consider the fact that the majority of the clubs and the sports raise their own money through fundraisers, and the only money that goes into the sports is for the football field, tennis courts, track, and baseball field. What purpose does it serve? Does the purpose for taking a child's dedication to a sport or a club and throwing it away as if all that they've ever done up until now is nothing? Listen to your students and their pleas. Listen to them and acknowledge that what you're doing to them is wrong. Thank you.
Thank you. He's going to be our last speaker for tonight. I just encourage everybody to come out tomorrow night to our regular board meeting if there's something that you would like to say. That's fine.
That's what a team does.
Go ahead. Yep.
My name is Brett Brewer. I'm a freshman here at LTHS. I play football and baseball. I'm here today to represent and explain why we need to keep after-school sports and other activities. After-school sports and activities aren't just about playing games and winning. It's about growing as young men and women and bettering ourselves. After-school sports and activities can offer many benefits, like it is great for our health. Running around and participating in extra activities keeps us in shape and gives us something to look forward to. But it's more than just exercise. Sports and activities teach us about teamwork, how to work together to reach a common goal. It also helps teach us to win and lose in a good sportsmanship-like manner. It builds character and teaches resilience and determination. Plus, sports and activities can help us do better in school. Being a part of the team teaches discipline and time management. We learn how to balance practice, games, and school. While on the topic of discipline, after-school sports and activities help to keep us out of trouble. Having an after-school activity gives us something to do after school and gives us something to work for. So let's keep supporting after-school sports and activities. They're not just fun, they're vital to teaching us lessons outside of the classroom and better preparing us for life.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, we're going to close public comment for tonight. We're going to move on to superintendent comment.
So, and again, just to remind everybody, we don't want to close public comment, but you don't all know this, but the board's actually been at it since about 4 o'clock tonight. There is some time frames that we have to adhere to. We do have a regular board meeting tomorrow night. We're honoring our Teachers of the Year tomorrow night, but there will be public comment after all is said and done. Obviously, there's more to be said. Okay, my role here will continue. I'm trying to find solutions, make compromises, get you information, and get you answers, and I will continue to do that throughout this entire process. And I thank you for the opportunity, and I do, as always, I've always said it, the town of Lacey is really a wonderful place, and you've demonstrated that tonight. You'll continue to demonstrate that, and everything was well said tonight. Thank you very much to all of you.
Thank you.
President Foss.
We're going to move on to board member comments. If anybody has a comment, none from Ms. Walker. Sal, do you have anything?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Thanks everyone for being here tonight. I'm speaking to you not just as a school board member, but as a neighbor, a parent, a fellow taxpayer who deeply believes in the power of community, the importance of education, and in the responsibility we all share to make the best decision for our future. I'll begin by saying this: the proposed 14.2 tax increase that we voted down did not come from the school board. This increase is being driven by the state, which has failed to fully fund our district year after year. Rather than stepping up to fulfill its promises to our students, the state is shifting the burden to us, our local community. We are basically being punished for not charging more taxes over the years. I've seen firsthand the commitment of our teachers, our staff, and our families. I know how hard they work every day, often with limited resources. But the truth is, this isn't a problem that should be shouldered by a community alone. This is a statewide issue, and we cannot let our families bear the brunt of it. I think tonight we did a good job addressing all these rumors about us wanting to cut out extracurricular activities, sports. We don't. It's a scare tactic, okay? It's being used because sports has the largest number of student participants and, in turn, the greatest level of parental involvement. By threatening to cut these programs first, it creates panic. But this tactic isn't just about fear. It's always a way to shift the blame onto the school board instead of holding the state accountable for underfunding public education. And that's not fair to our board, our community, and our students. We need to stop using scare tactics to force tough decisions. We need leadership at every level that looks for solutions, not scapegoats. The proposed cuts may be drastic, but without additional revenue or staff concessions, they may become necessary. Still, they should be the last resort, not the first two pulled when the budget is tight. There are other ways to support the programs we value without burdening our families with a 14.2 tax percent. 14.2% is more than a couple of bucks. Okay, let's get that clear. Let's talk about the options I mentioned earlier today in our roundtable. Pay to play for sports, where families who can contribute these offsets, costs, and scholarships. This is a one-time cost. This is not a cost for your parents for the lifetime and they live here in Lacey. If we raise taxes 14.2%, your parents will pay for you to play for 4 years of college for the rest of their lives that they live here in Lacey. somewhere in the area of $300 to $500 a month. Not a year, a month. Well, that could also mean you can't get the newest and greatest iPhone upgrade. It means you can't stream anymore. There's a lot of things that a family will suffer with $300 to $500 a month. Think about that. Community partnerships and sponsorships from local businesses to support extracurricular activities. I see it everywhere in this town. This town is strong. It's together. And I'm not going to repeat the rest. There aren't easy fixes, but there's smarter, more responsible alternatives than going straight to taxpayers or cutting the programs our students rely on. I know the dedication of our teachers and staff. I know our parents are invested. I know our community has stepped up before, and we will again if we're given a clear plan and honest leadership. We are stronger together, this community that has always rallied around its schools, its kids, and its future. We faced challenges before, and we've overcome them by standing united. Since I've lived in this town has never backed down from a challenge, and we won't start now. We are more than test scores, budgets, and political pressure. We are teachers who stay late, parents who show up, neighbors who care. We are students with dreams bigger than any deficit. The future of our school doesn't belong to the state, it belongs to us. Not to fear, not to blame, but to courage, creativity, and unity. Let's prove that when you invest in a community like ours, you don't just get numbers on a spreadsheet, you get a legacy of pride, purpose, and people who fight for what's right. This is our moment to lead. Let's do it together. So tonight, I urge my fellow board members to stand with our community, not just in making tough decisions, but in making the right ones. I urge all of us to keep pushing for what's best for our students, our schools, and our entire town. And I urge our state leaders to hear our call, to step up and do their part to fund our schools properly. Together we can move forward, stronger, smarter, and more united than ever before. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Armato, do you have any comments?
Before I begin, I'd just like to tell all the students here, believe it or not, every single board member was in high school. I know that sounds crazy. We were all on sports. We were all possibly on band. I was a cheerleader. We know exactly what you're talking about. We stayed at school. Sports were our life too. So don't think you're up here and we don't know. We know exactly what you're going through. We know the stresses that you're going through. And I would never want to vote to cut any kind of sports. I mean, sports are the livelihood of a high school student. But first I want to thank every parent, teacher, coach, student, and taxpayer that came out tonight. Your voices and your presence matter. And we're all here because we care deeply about the future of Lacey students and our children. A $7 million deficit has brought us to the edge of difficult decisions. And I know today social media was buzzing with rumors of cutting 60 teachers, eliminating busing, slashing sports. And unfortunately, those might not be exaggerations. They could be real possibilities unless we find a sustainable path forward. This deficit didn't start this year. It's the result of decisions far beyond this room, and it's due to New Jersey's flawed school funding formula. And here's the hard truth. That formula isn't being fixed anytime soon. And the cuts are not only real, they're reoccurring. And unless we take strong structural action, this will be our annual crisis. And let me repeat that, annually. So we'll be sitting here every year saying we have to raise taxes 14%. That's not sustainable. And the funding's not getting fixed. It's not going to go away. And taxing with no end in sight is not sustainable for any parent. I hear the kids up here saying that their parents can't afford $1,000, and that's a lot of money. Could you imagine, and I'm going to read some numbers to you, if we do this to the parents, not only will they not be able to afford sports, they won't be able to afford food. For a $3,000 home, that's $1,098 a year or $91 a month out of your parents' budget. For a $400,000 home, that's $2,818 a year, $234 a month. That could be someone's car payment or electric bill. For a $5,000 home, that's $4,538 a year. That's $378 a month. Those are big numbers. They're not just a cup of coffee. And let's not forget, we already raised taxes 9.9% last year, and that has already increased our permanent base. So it's not just a one-year fix. Whatever the tax rate that the state wants us to do, it stays. It never goes away. Another large increase this year locks us into even higher tax base that never goes away. It will never go away. And once again, the state has managed to do what it does best. It pits taxpayer against taxpayer. But our fight isn't with each other. It's not neighbor versus neighbor. It's not parents versus retiree. No, a retired person should not have to move out of town that has grandchildren in this town, that's lived in this town for 50 years. It's not about telling a neighbor to leave because they can't afford it here. I'm sorry, I don't agree with that. Our fight is with the state, and it continues to underfund our district and forces communities like ours into impossible decisions. If you're someone who supports the tax increase and has the means to help, I kindly encourage you to consider a one-time donation to the school, booster clubs or educational foundations. That money goes directly to preserving the very programs we're all trying to protect without forcing permanent financial hardships on families who simply can't afford another increase. If they can't afford $1,000 for play, they certainly can't afford the numbers I just mentioned, and that will never go away. That will be always on your tax budget. A one-time donation is one time, and you're not going to have to recur it every year. And we all want what's best for our kids, our schools, and our town. Let's remember who we are. Let's stand united and not divided, and push for real lasting solutions that don't break the backs of the very people who live here. Thank you very much.
Mr. Conity, do you have anything you want to add?
No, thank you.
Okay. I'd just like to just finish up. I agree with some things that the board has mentioned in their comments, and I disagree with others. It would not have been 14%. It would have been 7%. The board was asked if they could do 7%, and the answer was no. So we are here because the board, including myself, then did not act, okay? This is why we're here. So I do feel like we need to come together. I do feel like we need to compromise, and this is why we are in this position, because there's no compromising. We have some board members that are a hard no on raising taxes, and some will say, you know, let's do what we can. You know, we are here for the children of Lacey, and we are here for the taxpayers, but it's our job to provide a thorough and efficient education until someone says we can't. Right now, the state is saying we cut what we can. Now, they could come in tomorrow and say, oh, nope, now you can cut, and this is where we are. So this is why we had our meeting tonight. We need to come up with options. If they do come back that way, they might just say, no, you guys are going to get increased 14%. You might even hear, nope, they're going to increase 29%. Or you might hear they're doing nothing. So if they're doing nothing, then we need to figure it out because we need to pay the bills. So this is where we are. I want everybody to be clear. Again, we did not put ourselves here, but like Mr. Ryan said, over the past 10 years, our tax increase was 1.58. So we are underfunded according to the state. We should be 27% higher, 29%?
17 million and change.
Yeah.
Higher.
So if we don't want to deal with this ever again, that's the number we need to go, which we can't. We all can't afford that. So this is where they put us, and this is where we sit. So as a board, I really would like everyone to compromise. That's why we're here, to compromise for the kids in this town. That's why we're here. We're elected on the Lacey Board of Education. We're not in the tax house. You know, we're in the Lacey Board of Education. We need to keep that in mind. We just had a course today on our priorities. Our priorities are the children. 4 o'clock, that was our meeting. Our priorities were the children. So that is why we're here. All right? That's all I have to say. Motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second? Anybody want a second?
Motion
Motion to
adjourned.
adjourn.
Oh.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.